Welcome to Puzzled and Chatty with me, Adam Gray, where I talk with people in the jigsaw and speed puzzling world and hear their stories and thoughts on this growing competitive activity and the puzzle community. In this episode, I sit down with a Canadian speed puzzler living abroad. If you're at a nationals competition in Europe, there's a good chance you'll see him. He's the traveler, Cameron Mackereth. We discuss his journeys to the Belgium, UK, and Canadian nationals, his experience at this year's Worlds, and what it was like to partner up with the number one ranked Canadian speed puzzler, and so much more in this extended episode. So pull up a chair and pick a puzzle off the shelf to do while you listen to two people who are puzzled and chatty. Hello and welcome back for another episode of Puzzled and Chatty. I am here with a very special guest, Cameron. Hi, Cameron.
Hello.
Thanks for joining me. You are the first person on here to sit and chat with me who is not located in Canada. Still Canadian, which is good, but not in Canada. You're joining us from France, I believe.
That's right.
In Bordeaux. So thank you for joining me. This is a big time difference, but it's very nice of you to spend some time. We're going to go straight into it with the most important question, I think. We are recording this just hours away from Game 2 of the World Series, and I need to know who you are cheering for.
Oh, it's 100% Blue Jays, of course. Not even... I'm from the Toronto area. This is just a non-question. Yeah.
When I wasn't living in Canada, watching these types of games was always really tough because of that time difference. So I'm assuming it's the same for you, not being able to see the games live.
Yeah, I guess it's essentially impossible unless I would have a severe insomnia or something to wake up that early to catch the late games on the North America. But first thing in the morning, I check to see how the night before went. Yeah.
If it goes to a Game 7, will you watch that game?
Oh, maybe, because we'll have just changed our time zone here, so it's actually slightly better, the time difference. So maybe
it will be, yeah, and we'll be a week away, I think, from it changing over. So it only 5 hours difference, and it's a Saturday. I think it's a Saturday as well for Game 7, so that might be helpful. Predictions for the World Series?
Oh, I'm going to say make it as exciting as possible. Win in the 7th game. Yeah.
Jays win in the 7th.
Yeah.
Okay. So this will be posted after the World Series is done. So it'll be interesting to see how this goes. We can re-record the start if we wanted. We'll do a whole bunch of takes and see which one works.
I stick with it. Yeah.
Okay. I am also hoping for a Jays win in 7. I think would be great. Just super stressful.
Absolutely.
I don't know what I'd be doing with that. But we're up 1-0 in the series at the time of the recording, and it was a great first game, and awesome. I guess we can talk about some puzzle stuff as well. It doesn't seem as interesting when we move on from the World Series. But same question I ask everyone when we first start is just how did you get into just general puzzling?
So I definitely enjoyed puzzles a lot when I was younger. We'd go up to a cottage every year. Of course, there'd be some really old, ugly landscapes that we'd slowly put together over the holiday. With family, every once in a while, have something on the table, but no more than once a month or something like that. A little bit of puzzling. When I was a teenager, though, then I really enjoyed doing a few really big ones, the multi-thousand ones. Not many, but, I'd go there and sort through these, would seem to me this just huge pile of pieces, but it was so satisfying. And the one in particular, the largest one I did, I can't remember the piece size, unfortunately, but it was a big world map, which was nice at the time. And around it was all these pictures from the wonders of the world, I think.
Okay.
Super satisfying. Then going to university, I kind of stopped and really didn't do it during university. I didn't do it in the decade after, that's to say. And I, very surprisingly, I still am shocked by this fact, did 0 puzzles during the COVID lockdowns. That makes no
Wow.
sense to me. It was the ideal time. I think everyone else was doing it, practicing. I think I still feel like I'm a few years behind in practice because I don't know why. It just didn't occur to me. And then, so there you go.
Yeah, I think the lockdowns when I got back into it, whereas like, there's nothing else to do, I might as well. But yeah, once you go to university, it's tough to kind of stick with that. I was the same. It was like I trailed off when I was in high school, and by the time it was university, there's just a lot of other things to do when you're at university than sit down with a
Yeah.
puzzle. So yeah,
And
that makes sense.
also, well, there's a size issue because you usually don't have a big place to live when you're starting university,
Yeah,
sometimes. So, and now it would be a little easier because I think, well, 500 in particular is very common, but 200 and 300 piece puzzles are also really common now. And that I could see, I probably would have enjoyed just de-stressing from exams or something with a small puzzle.
yeah,
But
yeah. That's that's not how I de-stressed after exams. It was just we just did other stuff afterwards. I
okay,
don't really
that's
remember
okay.
some of this
Yeah,
stuff, but there was other stuff.
yeah,
Did you? So I think it's similar for a lot of people. Like you mentioned, you were doing puzzles with family, and there was just puzzles around. Was there a specific member of the family that was more influential in getting you into puzzles, or was it just kind of
no,
your own
I
thing?
think so. Yeah, the particular, as I said, this college we went to, it wasn't ours, but it was very nice. Very old and actually a large old wooden cottage. And we'd be there for 4 weeks in the summer, and there was like no television, well, just nothing but what we could do analog. So
Yeah,
I think we did do it a lot, all the family equally. But you did it because I mean, what else are you going to do after dinner or things, or on a rainy day? So I think it
yeah.
was evenly spaced. There was no one in
Okay.
generations older, for example, or anything like that.
Yeah, then yeah, I'm thinking back to like when I would go camping and or cottages and such. The puzzles might have shown up. A lot of card games, tons of card games.
Mm.
But yeah, a very analog time period for some of us. There's not much else to do, and it always seemed to be raining. Always. I don't know what happened during those years, but it just rained a lot, and it was what can we do
Nice.
inside for a week? And yeah. So when did you make the transition, I guess, into discovering speed puzzling and figuring, oh, this is something that I might be interested in?
I worry that this answer is the same as like 90% of the people. Yeah, I was scrolling
That's fun.
YouTube and came across
Yep.
Kevin Puzzle's recap of I think it was the 2023 at the time. That was the particular video that popped up in the suggested ones. And I remember watching a few minutes of it thinking, well, it's kind of strange. People are actually, competing for puzzles. It sounds fun, but it's a bit strange. And then you watch a bit more, and then you watch a bit more, and then you binge like all of them.
Yep.
And uh, at first, I think I just enjoyed watching them. That was actually fun enough. But then I started to think, but wait, I used to enjoy puzzles. I must be kind of okay at them. I did some big ones when I was a kid. It must be okay. I think
Yeah.
some months passed before really going out and buying the first 500 piece because I think that's new for a lot of people having 500 piece puzzles.
Yeah.
Not now. I probably have one or 200, but but at the time, it was quite rare. In fact, the very first one I bought was at a supermarket here in Bordeaux. And when she was ringing up the things, she went to scan the 500 piece puzzle and she looked at me questioningly and, well, she said it in French, but do you know this is a kid's puzzle? She told me. I'm not going to go into this whole thing, but no, this,
Yeah.
this is for me.
Yeah. It's
Yeah, so
like because people see like, oh, 500, those are the easier puzzles, and we'll definitely get into it, but that's not necessarily the case. It's piece count does not equal um, difficulty level by any means. So it's just funny when people think that.
yeah. I'm not sure if that helped or hurt my start into it, but I went on with it. I think even more committing as I watching the videos, it looked to me like it would be great. I don't have a lot of space, but it'd be great to get a foam board. So that was another purchase. And then after you have some foam boards, I put together and put on a table to make it a bit bigger, a bit, white and flat. I had some the 500 piece. Then, maybe like most people, you think, oh, this is easy. It looks so easy on television. I'm sure this will be fine. I've done puzzles. So you go hit the timer, you do it, and then, well, it's kind of harder than I thought. I mean, it wasn't hard, but you'd never timed yourself before. So you just assumed it was fast. I don't remember, unfortunately, what the very first one was. Must have been closer to 2 hours. I don't remember, but a bit longer. Actually, I think my very first one was an old 1000 I found in a cupboard somewhere. So that was really long. But the first 500 was, yeah, probably close to 2 hours. I'm not sure, but it was fun.
Do you remember what the puzzle was? Like what the image was?
Yeah, it was a landscape.
Of course it was.
I don't have it anymore. I swapped it away. It was a landscape. Yeah, old school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's landscapes, and yeah, they're not easy. And that's not a kid's puzzle either. Lands, I think that's
I agree.
yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, they're definitely looking at piece count, and yeah, that's not the case. So if you were watching those 2023 recaps, that would mean that and those are usually delayed by a little bit, because there's a lot that goes into making
Yeah.
the videos that she posts. So you're definitely under 2 years in the speed puzzling world.
Yeah, and I didn't watch them. I watched them late enough that I caught soon after. Well, not soon after, but I watched some other ones not long after. It was 2024, early spring, I think.
Okay. So you're about a year and a half into it, which is very new for for a speed puzzler. And once we go into some of the competitions you've been, it makes it even more surprising that you're only 18, 20 months into this. Before you did in person, we'll get to the in person stuff in a second. Did you do did you do virtual competitions?
Yes, definitely. So the first, I wouldn't even call this virtual, but the first semi-virtual competition, it was just the advent of the my speed puzzling. It's not a
Yeah.
it's not a contest, but it's some way that you can judge how you're doing, against other people. So I think my very first one was actually just convincing myself that it would be okay to sign up and put these somewhat longer times for anyone to see on my speed puzzling. So that I wouldn't call it a competition, but it was definitely a good way to enter. You just feel it feels more official than just puzzling and keeping note in a book or something like that. So that was good. But yes, virtual actual competitions. Being in Europe, the EJJ had started not too many months before. I don't know how I heard of it the first time, but I did watch it on YouTube when it was streamed. So I knew somewhat how it went. I knew that there were lots of really fast people, but on average, it looked like I wouldn't be the last person. Let's just say that. So I think that was the second committing thing, was to book or buy some mystery puzzles. I still buy lots. You can see, we'll bring them up later. But I remember the first time. They're usually done in the evening here, and usually during the week. So you go to work, you come back from work, you briefly, de-workify, but then it's
That's a word.
it's the puzzles. So sometimes it's better than others. If it's a really hard day, it's not always the easiest thing. And depending on what you're doing during the day, if it's very creative, I find it very hard to do puzzling after. I think it's too close. But if it's some menial work and you're just tired from that, usually speed puzzling is okay. You're tired, but your brain's ready to put things together. So this was an evening. I remember coming back. My lighting was atrocious then. In fact, it's never been great. I just got a new lamp today, though, so I think we're good for next year. But the lighting wasn't that good. But there's this mystery puzzle, and I remember it went live, and so everyone could see it on YouTube. I didn't tell anyone, but I could watch it again afterwards. It was When we opened it up, it was a Pieces and Peace, I think. So it's a French brand, if I'm not mistaken, and it was called The Bearded Musician. So it's a relatively graphic. There's a lot of black in the background, but then some bright colors. It didn't look too bad, but it was the very first one, and I think like a lot of people, when it's their first competition or timed where it means something, I think all your strategy just leaves your head. So I
Yeah.
remember doing some border, but then not doing the border, and then focusing. There's a person in the middle with a yellow plaid shirt, and I did that instead. I was all over the place, but very hyper excited. So I was doing it fast, even if it was not in the best approach. So I think it was like an hour and 4 minutes, which I was super happy with because this was
Wow.
a very middle level. Like I think it was right in the center of all of the people who were presenting. So um, that was great.
Yeah, just around an hour for the first competition. It is
It,
quite the accomplishment, especially because there's really no way to gauge fully what the ability level is going to be. Because even in practice, you're able to look at the image beforehand. You're able to kind of study it a bit,
mm,
which kind of alters your time. But with the EJJ European Jigsaw Jam, for those in Canada who have not heard of
oh,
it,
thank you.
they uh, they're all secret puzzles, correct? You do get some time, like, but very brief amount of time at the start. But it's not like you don't have the puzzle out for days. Well, you shouldn't out for days in advance. So uh, yeah, that's around an hour. It's a, a pretty good time. And is that enough for you? Obviously, I know what the answer is going to be, but that's enough for you to stick with speed puzzle, going. Yeah, this is fun.
It definitely was because it set up the first goal, which was to try to stay in the top half. That was, I think, a first goal. But I think is a great goal. I mean, it's to be in the top half means you're better than half the people in that particular
Yeah,
event. So
yeah.
that's a goal. And it
Were you?
was yes,
Was the what? Okay, so the 1 hour was in the top
I,
half.
I think it was very, if not, in fact, it might have been the half. Like it might have been the actual
Okay.
the actual line. I
I don't know.
went.
I haven't looked up the time, so I have no way
That's
of knowing
okay.
if you're telling it's. But
I think it was right.
it's
Yeah, might have been
that's
fifty
good.
point one. I don't. Yeah. No,
And
so
then
that was super fun, and I think once you do it once in the real context, then you immediately see if it's something that you'd want to do. And I did see that. It was super exciting, very exhilarating. It was, yeah, then you
yeah,
become addicted, more or less.
yeah. Uh, when was your first EJJ competition then? Ish.
The end of last year, so maybe a year ago.
Okay, so wow. So you've done a lot in a year because we're gonna go um, through some of these. How many? It's. I'm very shocked that it's 1 year. Because I'm looking at I'm looking at everything that I have written down here, and you've had a very busy 2025. Extremely busy 2025.
Yes.
So I'm gonna bounce around a little bit then. Your first in person competition. I'm not gonna say what it is yet, but your first in person competition was in March
Hmm.
of 2025, March 1st of 2025. Between your first EJJ and that March 1st date, how many virtual competitions would you say that you did?
Between 5 and 10, something like
Okay.
that. Enough to have some practice, but not a lot. That's a good
And
number.
then
5 to 10, I think, is pretty good. Yeah.
yeah, 5 to 10 is good. It's not overdoing it with it, but it's enough to kind of keep your interest and just it's still a good number to let you compare what your overall times are. Like you might do it once or twice, have a great response, but it just happened to be those puzzles were very suited for you, and then you suddenly get a puzzle that is very much not, but you weren't
Yes.
part of it. So it's a good way to kind of see the ups and downs that go with different brands, different images, different styles. So 5 to 10 is yeah, that's a good number. I think I have at least five, probably more, five or so virtual puzzles just this year left to go. So
Hmm.
it's picking up. But so when did you decide? Again, I'm not mentioning what the first event is yet, but when did you decide I'm going to attempt in-person competitions?
I think I wanted to do it for quite some time. If the chance came up, it might even have been the first thing I would want to do. But so France is interesting. We'll get maybe to this later, but there's a lot of history of puzzling in France, but there's no still no real organization like the Canadian Jigsaw Puzzle Association.
Yeah.
There's not really one yet. So there's a lot of events. They're highly weighted towards pairs as well. And so if you're not really, again, we can talk about pairs later, but if you're not really in the network, finding a pair and going to the first event, it's just too much. So I was missing the local or national way to do this first one. So I think I would have done it earlier, but there just wasn't a way to do it.
Yeah, and I'm trying to look at the World Jigsaw Puzzle website right now. There's no French nationals, is there?
No,
That's run.
they
They
came
do
up
something
with
different.
they came up with I think it was a month before Worlds this year. That I did see a logo, so maybe there's some idea in the works, but that's as far as I saw. Yeah.
Something underway. Uh, so yeah, there's essentially no French nationals. That falls under the same kind of category we're going to go into. They might have separate things, and if there is, I apologize for. I know Poland has something slightly different for their nationals. The Netherlands has two different national competitions. Australia has something different as well. So France might have something. No idea. But you don't have the option of French nationals. So your first in-person competition is the Belgium nationals.
That's right.
Why?
Yeah. The timing was great. It was early in the year. It was in March. It was the first time they were doing it. So it was the first one. And somehow it feels less intimidating to go to a first nationals because they are learning themselves. It's their real first
Yeah.
day. So they're doing it for the first time. It's not hard to get to. Belgium's the neighbor of France. Half the country speaks French. It's not so far away. It made sense as an easy one to go to. So and
Yeah,
yeah,
it's definitely closer than traveling the people like say from the west coast of Canada flying in for our nationals here. It's quite a difference. But so yeah, you go to the Belgium nationals. You compete as an individual. Did you do any of the other rounds? Were there other rounds?
there were. So there was individuals, and that I of course signed up for. There was pairs. I signed up for myself, but then wanted to find someone. And happily, because of actually the EJJ, you do see a lot of people regularly, and people who are roughly around your time. And happily, one of them was also looking, Stephanie Kapfer, so she's from Germany. And so we decided to be a pair because we both needed a pair to go. And so I also joined for pairs. I was on potentially a team, but in the waiting list. The way the Belgian one works, which totally makes sense, is that they opened it to Belgian nationals and residents a month before everyone else could apply. So anyone who was Belgian had the chance to go before this onslaught of international people. Fair.
That's very very funny because I actually suggested that very similar idea to the Canadian Jigsaw Puzzle Association. They have asked a few questions about that, and I essentially gave the exact same scenario. If Canada's getting bigger, if we were to open it to international people, what should we do? And I said, yeah, wait a couple weeks, let all the Canadians that wanted to sign up first get their chance, and then open it to potential international
Yeah.
afterwards. If there's spots left, if there isn't, then whatever.
Exactly that. It,
That's
it does allow you to book a larger venue, which is great and more or less
yeah,
guaranteed because you'll have you'll have international people come if they can. I know.
Of course. So so it's your first nationals, your first in-person competition, and it's a national competition. How are you feeling going into it then? I know you said you're a bit. It's a little bit more relaxing because it's their first time, so it's and your first time. But like even when I went into my first in-person event, which was also a national competition in Canada, I was still very nervous once I sat down because everybody else in that room is there for the same purpose. So it's very much I think I'm fast, but there's a lot of other people here that are also think they're fast. So this could go either way. How are you feeling going into it?
Yeah, I mean, definitely excited because it is the first one. I didn't really know anyone, which kind of helped a bit too. It was,
Yep.
in person, but oblivious almost to everyone around you because you just didn't know anyone. Uh, and Yeah, so excited. Of course, nervous. Like in almost all the events, the solo is the first thing you do. So it was the first event in the morning. Once I think also just the logistics, similar again to many national competitions. It's not in an easy to get to place. It's always a little bit out there for
Yeah.
money reasons.
Yeah.
So this was outside of Liège in a small little. It might have been like a community center, a lot like the Canadian one.
Yeah.
It was nice. It was a good building. It was quite large. But so the logistics was stressing me out probably more until I actually got there. And then you're a little bit stressed, but it starts because it's in the morning, it starts before you can really think about it. And once you're seated, I think a lot of people lose a bit of the stress because that's it. I mean, you're here, just go with it. Yeah.
Yeah, I that's not how I do those. My stress level goes the complete opposite direction when there's a competition going on. I do understand though, like not knowing anyone. That was my first, definitely my first nationals. I knew absolutely nobody there. Uh, Even the second nationals at Canada. I only did the individual 2 years in a row, and it was very much showed up, did my individual, left, and that was the day. So a bit of me does miss that, where you just no one knows who I am. This is great. And now this year, it was much more social for the Canadian one this year
Yeah.
than Worlds and such, and everything else that goes with that. But yeah, I think that takes the pressure off a little bit. Where if things go horribly wrong, no one knows me. I can just disappear into the night, and away I go. So how did it go then?
Uh,
The individuals.
I'd say, well, I was definitely happy enough. It was, I do have it. Like for a lot of these smaller national competitions, it was an older one. It was one of these Paris ones. There's a lot of Paris
Yeah,
ones I know, but
yeah,
uh, so straightforward. It was, I think it was like similar to my very first virtual one. It was like an hour, 4 minutes or something. I can't remember what the time was, but it was, decent. Nothing went horribly wrong, which was always something you fear for your first
yeah.
event. Uh, what was interesting is my table mate was from the Netherlands, quite young, and it was also her very first in-person competition. Uh, while we were puzzling, I was far from finishing, and she finished. And I went, "Oh, I must be like really slow. This is crazy. How are people finishing?" Turns out she was third. So in the end, it's Tamar from the Netherlands. She was at the Worlds as well. She did very well. So it was it
Yep.
was fun to see her at her first as well. She was super nervous also, and yeah.
Now, yeah, I just pulled up the results here. You have someone from the Netherlands, Inge, who's very, very good. I know I'm saying her name wrong. I apologize. Then you have someone from Switzerland finishing in second. Another Tamar finishing from the Netherlands in third.
Yeah.
Uh, I, how are they doing how is Belgium doing the award system? Because the top three at their first nationals
Yeah.
are not from Belgium.
So this is also, I think, the same for well, all the ones I've been to, and I've watched a few live as well. When it comes to the actual ranking during the event, it's only the residents and national people who are included. So they were the first, whoever the first Belgian was, I can't remember who, they were the first Belgian to win. So during the official awards at the end, it's a Belgian nationals. So
Yeah.
that's what it's all about. And then they say the top three, like overall or international. I can't remember how they broke it down, but of course they're mentioned, but it's not the same. It's not the same list. Just to be, well, it's their national. They need a national, and they have to have they have to have rankings. It's okay. Um,
It's I wonder, the organizers must have just been going, okay, well, hopefully we have something in place, because what are the odds the top three spots go to non Belgium nationals or residents? So that's very funny. Um, yeah, so I did pull it up, and then I moved it down there. So you were at 103 was your time on there.
okay. Okay.
47th place
Yeah.
out of, oh my goodness, 120. So definitely in the top half. So you have
Exactly.
that
Yes.
you have that well underway. So that's that's a very good result for, and there's only one round I think for Belgium, right? No,
Oh yeah,
no
yeah. No, there was
fun.
just the
Yeah.
one round of that, and then it was off to Paris. And the interesting thing about Paris, I mentioned how we found each other. We saw EJJ joined up, but this was the first time I ever puzzled as a pair ever. Like not practicing, nothing. We didn't get to practice either because she drove from Germany that morning. I just arrived, so we sat down, and then we went. Yeah. Uh,
And you did very well. You have 15th place, which is very good. I think that's out of 117. That's an
oh yeah,
excellent
I
result.
and I think being my first pairs, of course, and we'll probably talk about this later. My first instinct is you want the other person to be happy because with a pair,
Yeah.
it's fun to do it, but you don't want to be the one that caused the disappointment. Let's say, but she was super happy and I was super happy, so that all worked really well. The only annoying thing was it's the Bridgerton puzzle and it's very dark and the tables were dark. So it was dark
Oh.
on dark, and as a first pairs puzzle, it wasn't the smoothest, let's say.
Everyone had a dark table though, right?
Oh yeah, that
Okay.
it was fair. It was fair. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So you don't, yeah, you don't want half the tables to be light and half
No.
of them be dark. I can imagine that's happened somewhere before, but at least it doesn't happen here. So yeah,
Yeah,
Belgium
Belgium nationals.
nationals, excellent results, and then you then do another
Another
national
national
competition.
competition.
You head to the UK nationals as well, which was that their first year as well.
It was.
Okay, so you're just like, going around and like, you're just helping open all these national competitions all over Europe.
Yeah, if they're not going to
And
have them in France, I will go. Yeah.
so you do individual and pairs again. No teams, I don't think. I don't
No,
have
they
that
only
written
had
down.
the two events. Yeah.
Oh, that's okay. Well then, yeah, that makes sense. So UK nationals, they now that you've had experience at Belgium, you've done in person. Was this? I might have the order wrong here. Did Belgium was UK nationals your next in person competition, or was it the European one?
No, the UK was maybe a month or so after the Belgian. Yeah.
Okay, so you did, which you went straight over to the UK one. Uh,
Yeah.
how are you feeling going into this one then? Now that you've had the national experience, how's this?
By this time, well, actually already, well, now my memory is a bit off of when the Canadian Nationals opened the registration. I don't remember, but I think I already knew I was going to go to the Canadian Nationals by this point. So I
February
was
first is when
February
ours.
1st.
February,
Okay, yeah. So it was before
yeah,
both of those events.
yeah.
So I,
Yeah.
yeah,
And UK nationals came before the Canadian
yeah,
nationals did. So yeah, you have UK nationals again, feeling confident going into it.
better having done at least one before. It was a larger room. Interestingly, I mentioned already that Belgium did this system where they had a month where it was the Belgians and then everyone could register. The UK
Yeah.
took an approach where they said anyone, can register at any point. And actually, even with that, it wasn't full on the day of the event. So I it surprises me because I know a lot of UK puzzlers, so I don't know how this didn't have more people, but it didn't at the time. I think this year, sorry, next year will be more.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it wasn't quite full, but the room was very big. So this was a different feeling when I was actually there. So before going in, I thought, yeah, I think it should be okay. I brought a few puzzles to practice in the hotel before going to the event, which I hadn't done for Belgium. So I felt a bit more uh, professional. I don't know, getting prepared.
Yeah.
Although I did
Yeah,
go
that's
to the pub the night before, so it wasn't fully professional, but I tried.
I feel that's along the lines of what a lot of the UK puzzlers would have
Yeah.
done anyway. So you're just blending in. I
Okay.
definitely know they're based on Worlds. What happened at Worlds this year? Yeah, that seems about right for the UK nationals. So which is fine. Uh, so you finish that one a bit higher, 42nd place in the individuals. How did you find your partner for this one?
So yeah, this was actually the first time I came across a speed puzzler in the wild, if that makes sense. Like an unexpected connection. So I think it was from, maybe it was from the one of the EJJ ones. I had posted something on Instagram or Facebook or something. And someone I knew very well, it's actually a couple, and we've gone for some vacations together. And um, Leslie, the part of the couple, she wrote me back saying, "Oh, this is interesting. You know, her husband, Simon, he does these puzzles with clocks too. You should write to him." And I go, I'm thinking, speed puzzling? Really? Like a random friend of mine doing this, and I had no idea. It ended up being the case though. So he had just started. Really, it was maybe a month or so before. So just getting into it. So this was something that would be fun. Maybe not competitive because it's a bit early on, but it would be fun, and it was fun to compete, and
Yeah,
that's how I thought. Yeah,
the result isn't quite as good as the Belgium nationals,
no,
which is fine as well. Different partners is going to have a different results, and depends on what each person's there for. Are you there to have fun? Are you there to compete? Are you there to have a mixture? It's yeah, huge mix changes between that, and then. So we're just gonna keep bouncing between all the nationals, and then you head over, you fly into Canada for the Canadian Nationals
a couple months later
May of
in May of
2025, and that's your
2025, and that's
first
your first
Canadian national
competition.
competition. Were you coming to Canada anyway, or was it
you're
you're
here
here
to
to
do
do
the
the
you're flying in
you're
from
flying
Europe
in from
to do
Europe
this?
to do this?
I do like to visit my relatives. Parents live in Oakville. I have a sister and cousins in and around Toronto. I normally come Christmas time because it's the best time for, well, Canadians in general. There's an easier holiday schedule to just to meet everyone. But
Yeah.
Yeah,
after not being able to travel during COVID times, I tend to now visit more often because who knows? So I do usually come at
Yeah.
least
yeah.
twice a year or more. So I would have arrived at some point during the year. This just made the timing to coincide. So let's just say. So it was to come specifically for that, but I would have probably visited at some point in the year anyway.
Okay.
Okay.
So
So
are you familiar with?
are you familiar with?
Because you've not done any
Because
Canadian
you've not done any
competitions,
Canadian
virtual or
competitions,
otherwise, at
virtual
this
or
point.
otherwise, at
Are
this
you
point.
familiar with
Are you
any
familiar with
Canadian
any
puzzlers before
Canadian
you
puzzlers before
show up?
you show up?
I not no, definitely not in any personal sense. I had watched, we'll probably get back to this. I had watched Sandra, the Puzzling Canadian, YouTube. So,
Yeah.
and being,
Yeah.
close to where I grew up, I watched that with interest. So I knew her uh, from the YouTube. And of course, any Canadian that was in the world's recaps, I would have paid attention to. But again, that's it. Just seeing them on, yeah, on YouTube.
So how actually, we'll go to pairs and teams in a second. We'll go through the individuals. What are kind of your expectations going into Canadian nationals? Because this is your first in-person competition where there's a qualifying round first. There's we take it more seriously here in Canada, but it's not our first year. Even though in our first year we also had a qualifying round in our first year. So okay,
Huh.
yeah, we started off tough, but so what are kind of your expectations now that there's multiple rounds, there's qualifications and stuff that you have to deal with?
So I'll definitely say that the fact that there was a qualification added and still adds a bit of stress to that first event because if that doesn't go well, the biggest thing you miss out on is multiple days of or multiple chances to puzzle afterwards. And
Yeah,
if you like puzzling, which I guess most of us do, more days of puzzling or more events is just more fun. It's also, the success is also very nice too, but there's a little part of you that also just wants to be in that next round because it's another puzzle.
yeah,
So yeah, I really wanted to get to the finals, but also didn't know what to expect. I knew even from the registration that this was a different type of event. I think it was completely booked within hours of being
yeah. If
open.
that, yeah,
So that compared to the UK experience I just mentioned, it was a completely different scenario. So I could guess already that there were a lot of serious Canadian puzzlers and ones that were also just interested as well.
yeah,
But it was a bigger network. Let's just say that.
yeah. It's we do very well. The Canadians, like, we'll travel and get this stuff done because a lot of people were coming in from the West Coast, from Alberta and Saskatchewan as well. And yeah, it was a few hours maximum that those
those
spots
spots
were
were
available.
available.
So
So
we'll
we'll
see
see
how
how
it
it
goes
goes
next
next
year
year
when
when
it's
it's
supposed to
supposed
be
to
an
be an
even
even
bigger
bigger
event.
event.
But I think it's going to be a very similar case. We like our competitions. So did you are you preparing for the like how much practice are you putting into these national competitions before you go into them?
Uh, I thought, looking at it at the time, what I felt it was that I was putting more effort into it. That's what I felt. I am looking at it now. I mean, there's no way it compares to for Worlds. Like this is not even
Yeah.
a third, a quarter. I don't know. So I was doing puzzles and trying to do them faster, but not training in the sense that I think you mean.
Yeah, the training aspect that goes into it. But so you're in nationals. You're in the second qualifying round with Joffrey Lakes, I believe, is your puzzle, which is it's the same round I was in as well. And is that your
Your
style
style
of
of
puzzle?
puzzle?
In looking at times now over, I now have more than a year to look at different puzzles. It's not a bad style. I wasn't shocked by it. I didn't think it was a bad image. We'd also seen the first round, so there was a slight suspicion it might be similar. We didn't
Yeah,
Yeah.
really know, but no, I was okay with that. I in general like landscapes in general. Um,
yeah,
Yeah,
not
not
my
my
favorite
favorite.
at all. But yeah, you have to puzzle what you're given, so that's that's how it goes.
yeah.
Your individual round, your placing is higher than your other national competitions you were at, but I believe you just missed the cutoff
Yeah, I
for
believe the just
the
is three
yeah.
seconds. Yeah.
Oh, that makes it worse. Yeah, so 41 out of 40, the top 40 go on. But you're still well in the top. You're still in the top half, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so great. Yeah, which is fine. Yeah, unfortunately, you don't go through to the finals. But also, the finals puzzle was awful. So there was silver
Silver linings.
linings. Did you have you
Yeah.
done that
That
finals
finals
puzzle?
puzzle.
Still no. I even brought it for the Belgians to do at Worlds this year, and I still haven't done it. I should. You're probably the same. I really don't like paintings. I
Yeah.
think this is a common thing, and this was a painting of flowers and trees. I don't know. It. It looks like a nice. I like it to look at it, but there's nothing puzzle-wise about it that it's enticing at all.
Yeah, it's yes, and I always throw the disclaimer out there that it's a very good painting. It's an excellent painting. The artist is very, very talented, but not all art translates to puzzles, and this is one of those cases. So, yeah, if there's one thing to take away from it, you didn't have to do that puzzle under a pressure situation. So we'll credit that as the victory here.
I, I am reminded though. I just watched your interview with Danielle, and
Yep.
the one thing about finals though is you do get like a rank. So there is like this extra thing that only finals get officially, and you're quite
Yeah.
right. You could probably just kind of add a few numbers down and get your relative ranking, which is true.
Yeah, yeah. If you make it to like at Worlds, yeah, you get a
Yeah.
a ranking in the finals, which yeah, I think they need to change that. They can easily do the math for at least the semifinals. You can even go to the qualifiers if you really wanted to. It would not take very long to do that.
Yeah.
But when it comes to Canada, it's not a you don't get a ranking in Canada just for making the finals. It's our ranking system is you have to do five individual competitions within a 2 year period, and then you'll get put onto the ranking system. So some people like people that only show up to nationals and no other competitions in Canada wouldn't qualify for the ranking list because that's only maximum that's two individual rounds
Oh
every
yeah.
year. So you wouldn't like you could finish first every single time. Like Megan, our back-to-back champion, who we'll definitely talk about in a bit. Uh, she wasn't on the ranking system until she then decided to go to Eastern Regionals this year, and that got her fifth individual um, individual round. So
Mm.
yes, now she's on the ranking as first, obviously, but until that happened, there was no essentially our best puzzler wasn't on the ranking system. So it's yeah, not just making the finals. It's you have to do multiple competitions, which I guess is fair, but also if you're back to back champion, we know you're number one. So if you weren't very familiar with Canadians, how did you manage to find a partner for nationals then?
Ah, yes. So this will similar actually to the story I said for the UK. It was an unexpected puzzler in the wild again. I was watching. I didn't have a partner, but I because I could already see that it was booking quite fast. So of course I registered for pairs for nationals, and then started to look for one. And I was about to go into more aggressively look on the Facebook Canadian Jigsaw Puzzle Association as well as some other tools. But then I was rewatching some of the recap videos from the Puzzling Canadian, Sandra, uh, and it was the one from last year. And I was watching it and I was thinking, wait, that person looks very familiar. And what I didn't mention is that I said I puzzled as a teenager, and I also did a lot of puzzles with my neighbor at the time when I was in high school. And that person that I saw was my neighbor from high school. And I went, I got to ask if she's going again this year. And if so, no matter how we do, that's my partner. So that was my partner. So
So had you spoken to this person
no, it's
since
been
high
like two
school?
decades. No.
Just puzzling, bringing everyone together, old friends, neighbors, loving it.
Yeah.
So were you looking to like advance? Again, we have the qualifying rounds. Were you looking to advance to the finals?
Uh, it's always nice to because, as I said before, you get another chance to puzzle. But honestly, for this, it was uh, even just the hour before we started puzzling was, we could talk a bit. What have you been doing for
Yeah.
20 years?
Yeah. What's new?
There you go. It was just fun to do it as a pair. Of course, it would have been great, but no regrets. Like it was just fun. Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't. You didn't move on
No,
to the
no.
finals. Now the puzzle was, especially if you've not puzzled with that person, the puzzle was tough. It was, where is it? The Himalayan harmony round you were in.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So fur,
Again,
yeah.
you're in my round again. With it, and yeah, that's not an easy puzzle to begin with, and it's a tough one to do. Again, especially with someone who you've never puzzled with before, and you have so much else to talk about. So like that's it's fine. Uh,
Yeah.
and then how did you find a team then?
Yeah, so that definitely went to the Facebook group. I was getting on in time. I don't remember how many months or if it was a month before the event. And at that point, I noticed that there was a lot of messages right when the registration happened, but I didn't really know there was a Facebook group at the time. So that's when
Yeah,
I think you should do it. I guess that's when you also found your world's partner. It was closer to the registration date when everyone's, finding
yeah,
teams, partners, and all this. So for the teams, I was a bit late, perhaps, but I just looked through the list of people looking to complete their team, and I think it was Rebecca who had posted it for her and Lisa, who were pairs as well, and they needed two more people. And I said, if you're still looking for two more, I can't remember how I sold myself, but I probably said I'm roughly an hour or a bit more in my puzzles. This is my range, just so you can say they can judge how
yeah.
fast you are. Uh, do you still looking for someone? And they were. So I joined, and then someone else through the same mechanism also joined. So there was the four of us, and yeah, exactly. So we became the false fits. I bought the shirt. That was
That's
very kindly made and just given to us by Rebecca. She made them and gave it to us on the first day. That's good.
well, yeah. You have to have the t-shirts. That's
Oh yeah, it
part of
feels very
it's
different.
part of the
Yeah.
requirements. It makes you feel like a team as well. Like you're there to actually we're here to do something.
Yeah.
Not just puzzle and chat, but we're in a competition. Yeah, it's. I think if there's anyone who's watching this and they haven't, they're not quite sure on how to meet people that are going to be pairs, partners, or teams. It is these Facebook groups, regardless of what country you're in. It's joining them and reaching out to people. It's people will respond, and that's exactly how I found my partner and team
Mhm.
for nationals this year as well. Like this was my first time doing pairs and teams at 2025 in competition. Reached out the previous summer to find people, so I had time to practice. But yeah, using the Facebook pages, that's probably the best way to go. Now, you're the fourth member is that who is also was that your pair as well?
No, 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 no.
Oh,
Someone else who applied from really so not so far away. Not close enough that I could have practiced, as a half a team before joining, but no.
yeah. Okay, but your team does very well in the qualifier, and you finish in fourth, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, was that unexpected?
For me, it was. I know that before going into it, I know that Rebecca and Lisa were hoping for a good result. They were hoping to be, competitive. So that made sense. I forgot to mention probably one key fact here is this was the first time I puzzled in a team ever also. So so I didn't know what to expect because without having done it, I just had no feeling for it at all. It was just nothing to base it on. So super, super happy. I was very um, happy with the result. I think even more satisfying was that without really having a chance to plan, we did a 500-piece puzzle the night before as a team. No, no, sorry. No, no, it wasn't even that good. It was a two or 300 little Ravensburger puzzle moment. So whatever strategy that gives you, I'm not sure. But at least we puzzled together just to at least, feel what it was like, maybe to figure out seating roughly. I don't even think we did that. So that was it. So we showed up and then we did it. And I think our puzzling styles happily just fit together very nicely. We all puzzled very differently, but it was a great combination. Yeah.
And then was that? I don't have it written down here. Your team's round was that the Indigo Forest puzzle,
Yes.
or was it? Okay, so not my round this time.
Okay.
I still haven't. I still haven't done that puzzle. I have it, and I keep putting it off and putting it off, and
Uh,
hopefully I get
I
it
I
done
sat in
soon.
the corner with the sky and the tall purple trees, and I thought that was super straightforward for my puzzle style. So I was in the right spot. Yeah.
Perfect. But then you do make the finals, and it's funnier. So you've essentially done two puzzles with this team, 200, 300 piece puzzle, and the Indigo Forest, which is it's a nice puzzle. You can kind of split it into a team, split up in a team fairly well, but
Mm.
then you make it into you make it into the finals, and it's the Puzzle Passion puzzle right behind me there.
Uh,
How's your team feeling when that when that comes out of the bag?
uh, I think we didn't even flip over pieces for a while just because we were still in shock from seeing the picture. I've had many people since this ask me if they could borrow that puzzle because they really like the image. And I'm sure it is nice from a slow point of view. I can't even look at it. I didn't even take it home. I didn't bring it. Uh, it was just, it's what because we looked at I think you mentioned this already. We knew the artist by this point because it was the only artist
Yeah,
remaining. So we knew it would be busy, but this was like busy times
yeah,
some factor of infinity or something. It was just so busy. You look at it, there was zero strategy except for the person in the middle, more or less. Uh, yeah. And I think what was also true, I remember I didn't go into the pairs round. So I was fairly fresh, I would say.
yeah.
But for the other three members, they were in the pairs, and that was 1,000 piece, which is, it's a lot for a pair. And as you, I think, mentioned in other um, of your series. It's not so common as well for pairs, so it's a lot of effort. I think they were quite drained because it was just before. So you have a lowered energy. We haven't puzzled much together, and this thing was the image. It was tough to get going, but it finished somehow. You just had to keep going. I think I had a little more energy, so I could at least act, enthusiastic. I
Yeah,
wasn't puzzled better, but I was.
because some teams didn't finish the puzzle at all, but your team does, and you finish 14th place overall, which is an incredibly good result considering you've never practiced together. It's your first time being on a team, which adds to the difficulty as well. It is one of the tougher puzzles that I've ever seen in a
Yes.
competition,
Yeah.
especially for teams. It's a very difficult puzzle. So you must be happy with the 14th placing.
Definitely, yes. It's one of those things that I think whether you want to or not, you always compare your placing to your table number at the finals, just because that's how you kind of
Yeah,
enter it. So we were higher than our table number. So there's always that at the moment briefly modified it, but then you also look at the puzzle again and go, no, but we finished this. I was convinced halfway through that we wouldn't, there was nowhere to go. And how do you do this puzzle?
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
I believe Rebecca from our team, I think it was her, who asked you right afterwards what was your team's strategy. And
Oh,
I
yeah.
believe you shape sorted almost near the beginning, something like that. Maybe not the
It was
beginning,
it
but
was
yeah.
yeah. We there was just about halfway through. It was earlier than we usually would do it, but yeah, there was strategy. I think is a very isn't probably the right word for it. Is what we did. There was no like there was no way for us to plan in advance. With if we get the world's busiest puzzle, what are we gonna do? That conversation never came up, but it was very much on the fly of we need to figure something out here, and it paid off pretty well for us. But we had also practiced a ton, so we kind of knew each other's approaches to things, kind of how we would work together. So that made it easier. It was a case where practicing definitely helped us. Now the team that won, they hadn't practiced together either, but I know they had done other things. Like they had done teams and stuff in the past with other people, so there was they were okay with it. But your team going in with with no practicing, different countries that you're coming from, that's a whole different level. For and we're going to come up to Worlds quite soon, but other than not being able to practice together, what would you say are the challenges of forming like an international team?
I would, yeah, that's interesting. I think it also would apply to even different parts of Canada because I'm sure yeah, I'm a bit further, but even East and West Coast Canada is they're not
Yeah,
going to meet conveniently as well. If you've never met the puzzlers, which was the case for myself as well, I didn't know them. I didn't know any Canadian puzzler really, but I didn't know them in particular. I think there's nothing you can do online. That there's you could talk a bit, but you have zero feeling for what it looks like when they do a puzzle. And I think without that, there's strategy is impossible. You can't even you could imagine virtually, let's say you couldn't meet the puzzle, but you could say, I think my job is the edges, for example. So I could at least practice edges for a 1,000 piece puzzle. And,
yeah,
maybe there's something I could do. But if you've never met at all, I think it was too hard. Now, if you know people, then I think even if you're far away, you can come up with some strategies. You could try doing puzzles, the same puzzle,
yeah.
and see how you would divide it. I don't know if you've tried these.
Yeah, so my partner for Worlds, Tess McLaughlin,
Oh, yes.
she
Yeah.
lives out west, so very similar. Like we couldn't get together and practice before Worlds, and we did exactly that. We would do similar. We would do the same puzzle. Like we could meet through like a Zoom call like this, and we'd each start the puzzle and see what our approaches would be, and that seemed to work. It's not ideal, but we can start to figure out okay what kind of colors stands out to you more than me. Like if I see like yellows and stuff, that seems to always be a bit slower for me, but maybe that's what Tess is very good at, or some other examples like that. So, or we can meet, like we could do a puzzle and just say right from the start, I'm going to start with the edges. You do something else, and we can kind of see after about 15 minutes, how far along am I with what I'm doing compared to what you're doing, and is that close to maybe 200 pieces are done or 300 pieces are done after 15, 20 minutes. So it's not the same, but there are ways to do it with technology and stuff like this. So yeah, I can. It's not easy. You so this was your third nationals in just over 2 months. What are, if any, the big differences that you noticed between the different national competitions?
I probably, yeah, I probably have already somewhat covered this already. The number of nationals who are signing up for it, as you mentioned, as I mentioned, the Canadian one was registered in hours, so that is huge demand for, I guess, not enough places. I mean, it was the
Yeah,
balance wasn't quite there. The UK was the opposite. It was a different. So the both the I don't know the demand, the network, the whether or not it's open to everyone, or would you like to keep it national? Because they are still nationals, and I think at least so far, to be called national means you are associating your results with the World Jigsaw Puzzle Association. That's what makes them, I guess, nationals. You have to somehow register these results with a common
something, someone.
organization
Yeah,
so that you can compare. Yeah. Uh, so they are national. So I do see why you would want your own country and residents to go. But yeah, no, it's interesting how some really right from the start want everyone to come. I would say Germany probably had in Europe was probably the most Canadian-like. There are so many German puzzlers. It was a huge venue. It had multiple qualifying rounds, and it was mostly just people from Germany because there's just so many. So that was probably the closest. I didn't go to that one, but I watched.
Okay.
Watched.
Yeah, I was about to ask, was like, another one. I didn't have that one written down. Uh, I wouldn't be surprised.
Oh.
This will put you on the spot a little bit, but if you had to take the best one aspect from each of the nationals, like what would you say was the best part of the Belgium nationals that you could combine with the best part of the UK nationals, which we could combine with the best part of the Canadian nationals?
Yeah. For the Belgian one, so I mentioned we were on the waiting list for the teams. So in the end, there was. So Belgium is highly team oriented. It's, I think, been decades now that four people puzzling together is just the thing that Belgians do the most. So there was no way that we were going to get a table. No one wouldn't show up.
Yeah.
So, but they just gave, as I said, we had some teams. They just gave us extra puzzles that were left over from that round, and we went to a place and just solved it ourselves. Had a timer, but it wasn't quite as competitive. So I think they were just so accommodating. That was just my leaving after. It was the first time, but it was just they were just so welcoming and made everyone feel like they were there to have a good time, and it was very social. It was super, super nice. So there was that for Belgium. The UK one, let me think. I liked the UK one was the very first one that I went to with unreleased. So now actually the Canadian one would also fit this, but it was the first time I had ever seen an unreleased. Yeah. So that was and they had the artist there, so kind of the same. But so at least when I went to the UK one, that was my favorite part, was just unreleased. There was an artist there. It felt so different to be everyone doing the puzzle for the same time, for the first time. So we'll see. This year, what I didn't like so much, as I said, it was very small as well. It was only the solo and the pairs. The one next year will have qualifying rounds, pairs and teams. So completely different one. I'll have to get back to you. They're changing it too much, so I'm not sure what. Yeah, I don't know.
Fair enough.
For the Canadian one, well, it was meeting the Canadians. I think it was the only one. Well, so compared to those other two, it was the only one composed of essentially just Canadian puzzles, whether residents or nationals. Yeah. So that was a completely different vibe as well. Like just to know that you're all in the same puzzling network, and then you meet in person, and that was super nice as well. I think the first night was a puzzle social. I don't think you went to that on the Friday.
No.
So there was a puzzle chest, and they also had a big puzzle laid out. To me, that was the best example of what that competition was all about. It's where I met everyone I puzzled with against on puzzle chess. I chatted with them throughout the entire event. It was like old friends I had forgotten about. And, you had so much in common that, first of all, they were Canadians, and I don't come across a lot of Canadians in France. So there's already a shared cultural, we could talk about movies and things. So there was that familiarity, but the love of puzzles and talking about strategies, it was just so natural. So that very first day, the Friday puzzle social for me was my favorite part of that. None of the other ones had that sort of get together like that.
Yes, it seems like a very Canadian thing to kind of have that little social thing first in there, and then the next day, pure competition. Like it's we're all friends. The next day, we're here. There's very Canadian. So I think it's like you're traveling a lot, and which, as you mentioned, post pandemic and lockdowns and everything else, you're definitely taking advantage of the freedom to move around that we have now. I'm definitely not doing enough of that. I need to do more. But you then travel again to the European Jigsaw Puzzle Championships. And this is before Worlds, which we'll come to as well. There's so many competitions. Again, like looking at the notes before this my notes before this chat started. I was like, oh, I don't have many pages of notes. This will be much faster. I'm already looking at the time, like, nope, it won't. It's never the case because there's so many things that you go through. Before we get into the European Jigsaw Championship, are you planning on coming back for nationals next year for Canada?
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah, that's a guaranteed. Yeah, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, I'm assuming that you're going to be pairing up and teaming up differently than this time, or
Um,
attempting to.
Pairs, yes, I think I'll go more for the competitive versus social this time. So fair enough. Yes. Team, it's hard to say. We haven't talked about worlds yet, but as you compete more and more, you actually end up on more teams. So it's hard to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. My
Yeah.
first after leaving Canadian Nationals this year, I definitely wanted to join back to get like a second chance at a final puzzle that was not insane. To
Yeah.
have so
Yeah.
I think if we all return, that is likely to be the team I would be in.
That's a good choice to have as well. It's that second attempt, and we're gonna who knows how the puzzles are gonna be set up next year. If it's gonna be all Canadian artists again, all unreleased. I'm assuming they're gonna at least do all unreleased again because once you
Yeah, it'd
take
be
that
hard
step
to go back
forward,
from that. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, I think it would be a huge, it would be catastrophic almost. That's such a big step forward. If we were the first, I think we even passed the states. Maybe not.
No, yes, because they had some unreleased, but not all of them.
I wasn't sure about this year, about 2025.
Oh,
If
that was
they're
all. Oh, I see. Oh,
Yeah,
now I
because they
remember.
were a few. They were like a month before us, I think,
Yeah, that's
with it.
true.
But we did have all Canadian artists. They didn't. I know that. They didn't
Yes.
have all American artists. So we were the first to have all unreleased puzzles in every round, and by Canadian, Canadian associated type of artists
Mm.
with it. So yeah, to not have that next year would be
Oof.
it'd be tough. But with such big numbers, expecting bigger numbers next year, who knows how that play will play a factor. But let's hope it stays just as good as it did this year, and hopefully something new shows up as well. So yeah, you go to the European Jigsaw Puzzle Championships. Where were they held this year?
It was the first time. Why not? Keeping
This is the year
on
first for a
toes.
lot of things.
Yeah. Uh, so in Budapest, so in Hungary, and I'd never been. You may have already guessed that I actually do like traveling. So to have an excuse to go somewhere is amazing. So I'd never been to Hungary, never been to Budapest. Perfect chance to go. Yeah.
Yeah, so I actually don't have anything written down. I've looked at the results, but I didn't write any of it down. I don't know why. Did I not? No, I didn't. So you're gonna have to. I have the website open. I can check it if I want to. But you do all the events. I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, I know you do all the events because I have some of the puzzles. These are actually yours
Yes.
right here. Yeah,
I
right
see.
there. So yeah, Liz Stanley, let me borrow them. You'll get them back. I've done one of them so far, so we'll talk about the individual event first, then,
Okay.
which is this one, uh, which is a finals puzzle because there's qualifiers at these. You do make it out of the qualifiers? Yes.
Yep.
Okay, good. I was like, please say yes. And he just didn't buy the puzzle afterwards. How? So this is bigger than nationals. This is it's Europe at it. Is there a different atmosphere kind of going on when you go into this type of competition?
So it was larger, but it also wasn't affiliated with the World Jigsaw Puzzle
No, it's
Association.
not.
And I
No.
think, and that was part of of a difference already because that was a known factor that it wasn't related. So it changed.
Yes,
I don't
they
know. You
make
went
that
to the
very clear.
yes. Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Uh, it was fun. It, there there was really a lot of not everyone, but a lot of the top people from all these different countries. So it was really fun to see them puzzling against each other. That was super enjoyable. Um, it was yeah, it was different, but it was fun. You know what? It was temperature wise, it was the opposite of what Worlds was like. Inside was really nice, and outside was just heat apocalypse in Budapest at the time. So outside was unpleasant, inside was
Oh,
great. We had the
when
opposite.
when you
Yeah.
said the opposite, when you said the opposite, I was thinking, okay, well, the dome for Worlds was like 50 degrees. Does that does that mean it was like minus 50 and something? But no,
Right,
okay, that's
right.
like it's I can't imagine that would be better in any case. But yeah, so okay, so you make it through. What was the puzzle brand for the qualifiers then?
Yeah, so going when we were first told that first of all, they only announced it not many months before the actual event. I think they were, I don't know, not fully sure of how things would work. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Uh, but it was super clear at the beginning that Truffle would be the main sponsor. So this was already a huge change, even in that aspect compared to World Jigsaw Puzzle Association events. This was Truffle, so it felt different because it was a different brand. So it was already it had a different feeling to it, and I enjoyed that. I think the only unfortunate thing we all realized very early on is that we all bought the standard truffle. I don't know if you've ever done truffle puzzles. They're quite
Yes.
thin. They're a little bit loose putting them together. They have nice pictures, but they don't. They have a very different feeling than Ravensburger.
Yeah.
So, we've of course bought some of these or traded for them and did lots of the truffle, but they were the old ones. And as soon as you show up, similar to the puzzle behind your shoulder, it was a completely different cut. There was nothing similar at all to the truffle that we did. So, but
I like that though. I because then it takes away like with Ravensburger,
mm.
if you do enough puzzles, you start to realize certain aspects of the cuts,
Especially
especially with the
True.
500s.
500.
There's
There's
like
like
three or
three or
four
four
different
different
ones,
ones,
but
but
there's
there's
one
one.
main one that they use, and I think with the thousands there is only one cut for the thousand piece puzzles. So the more you do, you start to learn. I don't expect anyone to memorize the entire cut. I'm sure there are some people that have, but there are some things that you kind of get used to. The border specifically, you can kind of figure that out a bit faster. But if I would love for like Worlds or the European Jigsaw, where they just I can't imagine it's that difficult to come up with a new cut for them. Like with I know we have AI and stuff coming into puzzles, and I don't think that should really be part of images for a variety of reasons. But you can use one of the things you could use AI for would be to create a cut. That seems the fastest way to do it, and you can make AI can make hundreds of them and just have those printed for special competitions, and it's a one-off. And then next year, completely different cut. So I like how
Yeah,
they changed it up for it. That's
so
it's
that was
sneaky,
super.
but I
Like,
like
so
it.
there you go, super fair. We hadn't seen the pictures, and the cut was unknown, and even the puzzle.
Perfect.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. So,
Yeah. So
but now that you've brought this up, so they are all new puzzles, which was excellent.
yep.
We didn't think much about it at the time. I was in the very first round, so I was the first to open. We didn't see people puzzling it before, so we opened the puzzle. My qualifying was the picture of it. There was a truck and
Okay.
some background. Straightforward. One little minor issue is that actually the puzzle box had the edges cut off of the image. So if in the first round, like me,
Extra challenging.
where's the chicken? You could hear everyone almost saying, "There's no chicken in this picture." It was cut off on the right. Yeah. So after our round, it got a little bit. There was a poster inside, but you didn't think, yeah, you
Yeah.
don't need a poster if there's a picture. So slight bubble, but what became quite apparent by the second round is that the second puzzle was also on the back of the box. So on the back of the box behind your shoulder,
Yeah.
there's 6 puzzle images. And with a little bit of mathematics, you went, oh wait, they need 6 500-piece puzzles for this because you need the
Yeah.
and you know what? And there was one other one that looked a bit like the qualifying, so that would be the third. There were 2 city ones, so that's probably the 2 pairs. And then so we were all dreading, but thinking it's likely that the one that you have would be the final one because it was the hardest one, so it's probably a final puzzle, and they wouldn't mix it in for the other ones. So.
Yeah.
But we didn't know for sure. It was just a suspicion. So we kept hoping against that fact. It wasn't, well, I guess we'll talk about worlds later, but it wasn't a known fact. It was just a suspected, it could be that. Let's hope it's not that.
And it was that. It
was that.
Yeah. So I actually did this puzzle this week because I knew this call was coming up. So I want to do at least one of the puzzles. This one, the bird one, I'll do sometime next week. But yeah, I haven't done a truffle in a long time. It's just not a brand that I use very often. Some of the images are nice, but it's just not. I know it's not showing up in our competitions, so it's not really worth a lot of my time. If I was going to the European Championships, and yes, there would be a huge pile somewhere in my house with truffles. But how did you find that puzzle?
It is better than we only had the little picture as well as you can imagine. So you could see that it was blue and there was a tree. You can't see so much besides that. Although that is technically what the picture is. So you would know this as well now from when you dump the pieces out. It's not just blue in a tree. There's actually a lot of distinction in the color in the back, and I didn't do it as much at the time. But I have done it. I did it one more time afterwards. Those bubbles, there's certain little things in the back that if you focus on those, it's actually not so bad. The back and the bottom, you get to, and the tree, I don't really have a good solution to.
No.
Yeah, there's no solution. It will be my most memorable moment because it was this puzzle that I hit almost the final time before finishing. So we had 1 hour and 15 minutes. It's a final round.
Yeah.
Timer's counting down. I probably like most people, you don't look up very often at the time. You just want to finish as fast as you can. But then I started to suspect that it was getting close. And I think a goal of many people is you want to finish the puzzle. That's just a goal.
Yeah.
It feels more
incomplete.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I looked up and I saw that it was, I think, 1 hour and 13 minutes and something. And I had bunches of tree pieces left. And yeah, the sheer adrenaline surge of trying to rapidly put last pieces in it's definitely a feeling. I don't know. You're both very fast, but very imprecise,
I've said this before, and that one of my favorite parts about the competitions, especially if they're being recorded, is that final minute where people are trying to finish and the camera's focused on them and there's like 3 pieces left, 2 pieces, and it's trying to get it in right before. The celebrations from those individuals who just get it in under the wire, they went into the competition knowing they're not winning, but they had the goal of finishing the puzzle, and some of their celebrations are more enthusiastic than those who do come in the top spots. So I always like watching that, and they just feel so accomplished. But you do finish the puzzle in time.
Yeah, I think 24 seconds or something before the end. So, plenty of time to relax before. And I knew that someone was close to me, but it wasn't until I watched the live stream that night that I saw there were 2 people who finished right at 1 hour 15, like to the second. They put in their last piece, and one of them, she came she finished just before me in the qualifying. So I would have just been before her in the finals, and we both had these great stories to tell. So now, of course, we meet at all the different events, and you do connect sometimes for these rather random events, but then you're like solidly puzzle mates for life.
Yep. Yeah, especially if you're around the same times, you just kind of end up with those types of people, and it's good to, like, if you meet them again at the next big competition, it's okay. Well, I'm not going to win, but let's try to beat this rival person that I have, the friendly rivalship that you have with them. It's a good way to motivate yourself. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And like I had that. Let's move on. We'll move on to no. Let's stick with the European stuff for now because we didn't do the pairs or the teams. Just really quickly though, with your pairs, again because you're traveling and you're moving all over. How did you find your pair for this one?
I did have to find an equivalent to the Facebook group, let's say. So I again posted. Luckily, I was doing slightly more posts on Instagram, and I said, specifically, I'm going to the the Worlds. I don't have anyone. Predominantly, are there some French people who would like to go? Because for the European one, you definitely had to stick to a nationality in your team. You had to pick one and go with it. So I didn't know, but luckily someone pointed me out to there was a Discord group that was all the French puzzlers. And as soon as you know it, then you log in and go, oh, there's tons of people asking for partners, asking for teams. And it didn't take long after that. But you do have to find a way into that first.
Yeah. Do you, because I don't have the results up here yet, did you make it through the qualifiers for the pairs?
For the pairs, no. My pairs, she was slightly newer, but we had a great time. I think, well, we were close enough, but it was great. And we were on the team together. So it was, if nothing else, one chance to practice for the team, which we had more hopes for. So that was, I think we took it more like that.
Great. So moving into teams then, you're with your partner, and then who's the other two?
Yeah, so the other two were the ones that were kind of like the Canadian nationals. They were sisters. They are sisters, and they were the ones looking for two people to join. So it was myself and so Elodie was my partner, and it was Celia and Maeva from France, and they are sisters. Keep saying that, and they were looking for two more people.
And
we
you
didn't
do make
practice
the
at all. We didn't practice at all. But the one nice thing for this, well, I don't know if it's nice, but they had space for a ton of people. They had no idea how many people would actually attend, so there wasn't quite as many. So the, I guess similar to the Worlds a little bit, what happened is the amount of qualifiers didn't quite match what you would expect in the finals. So there was a super high rate of the teams getting to the finals. So we took that as a practice, and the qualifying had two puzzles, like two 1,000 piece. So there was a time to go through two puzzles and practice. So in the end, it worked. Even though we hadn't practiced at all, you could take the qualifiers as a practice.
And you do make it through to the finals. For it. Regardless, do you think, again, I don't have the times or anything up here, do you think you would have made it through to the finals even if it was tougher? And like if there was more teams?
Without having practiced, I'm not sure, because we did modify our strategy, during those two things. Yeah, without practicing, I'm not sure. We were quite solid in our approach, but we needed a little bit to get ready. And I don't know.
That's a very fair answer with it. But you do make it to the finals. Is this one of the team's finals? Okay.
Yeah.
So I know what to expect then.
Yeah, it was good. The second one was get another Frida puzzle. They have to stop with this. Anyway, that's for another day, I guess. The thing that was slightly different for the team's puzzle approach for the European Championship is it was we couldn't see either puzzle, and you opened one bag first and the second one only when you finished the first one. So everyone did the same puzzle first and it was unknown, and then everyone did the same one second, but you didn't see it. Like you couldn't even open it until you finished the first one. So
I like that. I like that idea.
I love that idea.
Actually,
that makes it even more fair.
Yep.
I kind of wish that's how all the competitions with two puzzles that you have to do would go. Yeah, because then everyone's doing it in the same order too. It takes out that aspect of do we make the right choice on which puzzle to do? That's an
Yeah.
unnecessary
It
step,
is
I think.
unnecessary. Yeah. Yeah.
It's just adding more that we're there to put puzzles together, not to do this other stuff in beforehand, which will lead us into Worlds in a second. But did you enjoy the European Championships then?
Very much. I think unanimously, I'm not sure. I didn't ask everyone there, but we would all go back to another one because it was so well organized. This particular one was organized by the Hungarian Puzzle Society, so
Yeah,
organization.
they're very organized
So,
as well.
which apparently they are, and I've been told by yeah, by people who have attended that they've enjoyed those as well. So there was no surprise that it was well organized, but it was very well organized. Everything was just, I mean, the live stream was amazing. The setup was perfect.
Yeah.
Everything was just so organized, which definitely makes it even look more organized when you compare it to, let's say, Worlds or something. It was just
Yeah.
super, super well organized. Yeah.
And they move around. It's in Turkey next year, I believe.
Yeah, so that's what it seems like. So I don't know if any of the people involved in the one this year would help out. I guess they would, but I think there's also a bit of a committee that will help from here on.
Yeah.
We'll see.
And I like how it just moves around as well. It makes it much more worthwhile to go to. I'm going to assume that you intend on traveling to Turkey next year.
Yeah, I don't think we know the date yet, so of course that's always a little bit of a factor. But if I can, I'll be there. Yeah, I've never been to Turkey,
Awesome.
so
Yeah, just ticking off boxes, country after country, which is great.
yeah.
And to continue your world journey for puzzling, we'll go on to Worlds then for this year. We are about a month and a half since it's finished at the time of recording this, and obviously it's your first Worlds. So this is your fifth country that you've traveled to this year, if
Yeah.
I'm counting right, for puzzling. So that's quite the experience on its own. That's something to take away from puzzles. If you didn't go into speed puzzling, you probably don't see. You're probably not seeing as much of the world as because I guessing it's helping you go to these countries and giving you a reason
Uh,
to go.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to say much of what I do as a job, as a scientist and things, but we do go to conferences, and that's another excuse I sometimes have for going to countries. You pick a conference that makes sense and you're interested in, but it's also in a nice place, and they usually move around as well. So yeah, this is
And
a good approach. Yeah.
that is good. We're going to talk about Worlds. Before we go into it, did you get the? Because by the time this goes out, it'll be public knowledge, so it's fine. Did you get the email this morning for the new competition?
I did
Yeah.
the one under the website speedpuzzle.com, right?
Yeah. So you got the advanced email.
Yes.
That's so. I'm gonna come back to that, but I just wanted to see if you knew that, if you were part of that already. We'll come back to it though. So Worlds 2025, first Worlds, as I mentioned. Overall, for what Worlds was, for the good and the bad and everything else that went with it, did you enjoy Worlds? Before we go into the smaller details.
Definitely, yes. It was also my first one, as you mentioned. Definitely, yes. I liked how I did. I liked all the people, and you've already said this many times. I mean, the people were amazing at World, so this made it fun on its own, no matter
Yeah.
what the event was or where it was. But yeah, overall, very much enjoyed it. Yeah, yeah.
Good. So that's a good mindset to keep as we go
Yes.
through this. Was it odd competing as a Canadian? And I guess this applies for every competition that you've been a part of. I guess with the exception of the European. Is it odd competing under the Canadian flag even though you're living in France?
It it's no, it's an interesting point. It also partly drove the reason for going to these other nationals. Because the official puzzle entity is, the World Jigsaw Puzzle Association, and it's connected. You put your passport in when you first log into the system. So your nationality is what you are. And I don't have French nationality. I'm actually still have I'm a resident, a long visa.
Yeah.
But I'm only a Canadian citizen, so obviously that's all I can enter. That's fine. So you can't change that fact. So I will, I'll be puzzling as a Canadian, no matter what. So it wasn't weird in that sense, but it is strange that it's not the same country that I could, in theory, easily puzzle with. I guess is the easy answer for that. I already also had to decide, for the EJJ, they have statistics based on country as well, and you can only pick one country. So I was living in France, which to me made sense for EJJ, the online competition. That's where they were sending the puzzles to. But I chose right from the start there to be Canadian for the EJJ as well. So I think once you do that, it's set. And if you watch live streams for Worlds, I think a few times when it comes to me and I'm finishing, you hear, "Oh, it's Cameron from Canada." So I think that's me. Yeah.
The Canadian flag is on the little sign on the tables there. Are you, for the European Championships, were you registered as someone from France though?
Yes, just because you had to list either an address or something in Europe. It was just, I think they were just trying to come up with, it was their first time and it was unofficial. So there was no rules. They could do whatever they wanted. And I guess that's what they decided to do, is just make it.
The way you just say it, there's no rules, like it's a Mad Max type of situation where it's just.
That's an interesting approach. Yeah.
Okay, so into Worlds then. We'll start off with the individuals. You were in the qualifying round that. So in every qualifying round, there's two puzzles to choose from, which we won't get into today. But that's a choice they made for various reasons. But there was a circle puzzle in every one of the individual qualifying rounds, as well as a standard rectangle puzzle. Yeah. But you're in the only qualifier that didn't have a circle of colors circle. You had one from the other series, which I don't even know what that series is called. But it's a tough series. The puzzles are a lot tougher than they look. With those circles, at least that's what I've never tried one of them, but I've been told that by everyone that has. And then so you had that one. It was called Feel, was the circle option. Yeah. And then do you still have it? Yeah, that's the one there. Yeah, see, it looks like it's very easy to break up into sections, but I know for a fact it's not. And then your other option was Scandinavian Idol, which is that's not fun either. And Scandinavian Idol, I think, was one that showed up before. It was a repeat from a previous competition. In
something, I've heard people say they recognize it. I'm not sure in what context, though. I hadn't seen it, but yeah.
So talk me through your decision on how you decided on which puzzle.
I mean, I knew you would ask this just because of what I picked, but yes. So going into it, everyone's practicing a lot. And I think all of us are also trying to guess what might come up. I mean, that's just one of those things to do. And I was fairly sure it would be a circle one, just because it kind of hadn't been for a while. And they made quite a few of them. And I thought, it's going to be a circle one. So I actually ended up getting a lot of circle ones to practice with. But also, I thought it very likely, it's the Little Sun series is actually the series of these ones. And there's 3 of them. And I don't know why, but I was convinced it would be one of those. I don't know why. I was convinced. So I made sure to get all 3, although I didn't do all 3, as it turns out. But I did do 2 of them. And one of them was the Field, one of my choices there. So to give a background into my head, going into Worlds, I thought there would be a circle one, and I really thought there would be a the Little Sun series at some point. So this was just something that was already, I was convinced that. So when I opened the bag, there was the Little Sun Feel, which I had done just a few weeks before Worlds. And this other one that in all other cases would have been absolutely the one I would pick. I'm not bad with landscape. I don't usually like the pictures as pictures, but I'm not bad at them. Even though it did have there was a lot of muddled bits and grass and other things, but it still looked quite something that would work. However, I said I had already done the Feel one, Little Sun Feel, and I knew that it was just under an hour when I did it, which I think, looking at the other times, was actually quite good. Now, there's no guarantee that it will be the same day of the competition, but I had to go with a guess that I knew, at least in some situation, I would probably be around an hour or a bit less, and I was fairly certain that this would at least even just make it, but make it to the qualifying, through the qualifying. I don't know. Had it been any circle one that I had never done, I think it would have been tossed, over the shoulder. Second I got it. Because it was this exact one, it was tough. The person I shared the table with also picked Little Sun. I'd gone so far as to take the seals off both puzzles though, so I guess, hadn't fully committed to it. But sometimes you do pick the one that would probably work versus may or may not. That's what I did.
Yeah, because it was a risk. The top 85 go through, which sounds like a lot, but it's very competitive to get through in those spots. Of the 61 people that beat you in that round, 60 of them chose the rectangle. So you were the second person to qualify and do the circle. Only, I think, six out of the 85 qualifiers did the circle. So you definitely chose one that no one really wanted to do. Yeah. Was there a point during the round where you were seeing all the, because you can easily see the big screen on there when they're showing the people that have finished. I tried to ignore it during my round, but I still glanced up.
I absolutely did as well for this one. So I didn't look up. So that's one answer. I never looked up.
Okay.
The screen for this. So yeah.
That's good then. So was there any point where you thought maybe I picked the wrong puzzle?
I think only during the actual decision part, during that minute, however long we had, that felt like a long time, but also short at the same time. That I doubted it the whole time, but I think you may have heard this from Mari Black also said this, that at least try to fool yourself that it's your favorite puzzle when you are doing the puzzle. And Jim does a lot of the live stream for EJJ. He's of a similar mindset, of course, and yeah, so when doing those puzzles, you hear his advice as well. So I think I took some of that on. You've chosen, just go for it. It was the first time to puzzle though in the dome. I do remember the heat being, I think, about 20 minutes in. It was just, I'm going to fall over or something. But then it passed and it was okay. But so keeping awake, that I doubted. But the puzzle, no, it felt very smooth, surprisingly smooth, actually. I'm happy to say.
It's good. And you do qualify, which is the most important part. And that's absolutely the most important part in that first round. You really want to get through. If you're there for the competition aspect, you want to make it through to the semifinals. I was probably most nervous about that round for that very reason. Like it sets the tone for everything. It's it's right at the start. It's how it will go for you to some degree. Yeah, absolutely. I felt the same. I was the most nervous for the qualifying round for individuals. Even though I was really confident I was going to probably make it through, it was still. But what if I don't? Like there's always you don't know what the puzzles are going to be. There's no way to know. And if I was in your round, I'm definitely not choosing the field puzzle, so I'm probably going with the Scandinavian one. And I think the slowest qualifying time, I have it written down here, 107,
Yeah.
107 ish, 109, 109. Do I get under 70 minutes with that on the first attempt? I would like to think so for the Scandinavian, but it's not guaranteed. It's who knows. Yeah, it's something.
I thought, of course, that we'd be talking about these two puzzles and the choice. So to prepare for today's chat, I of course did the other puzzle. So I just did it recently.
Okay.
Um,
And
so shock reveal. What do you think? It turns out, I mean, it's a totally different situation. It's not hot here, but there's also no adrenaline. You can't really compare.
I'm gonna take a guess because this is what my mindset would be. So I haven't done the other puzzle. So I did in my round. I also chose a circle for some moronic reason. But I haven't done the other one yet on my own. I've done it as a pair to practice when I was still in Spain. But on my own, I think if I was doing it to see if I made the right choice, for some reason I would go slower. Like my body would make me go slower to kind of convince me that no, the circle puzzle was the right choice. I'm going to make you feel better about it because I don't know if I'd be able to think, oh, I was 20 minutes faster on the rectangle. I don't know how I come back from that. So I don't think you have the same mindset I do, but I think you go a couple minutes slower with the Scandinavian one.
Okay, well, I'll tell you in a second. So my mindset going in is I said, okay, I'm going to do this. And when we're chatting, I'll go, oh, I was an idiot. The other one was, I was so fast. It was like 50 minutes. I would have been near the top or something. I don't know. I thought it might be my style of puzzle. It would have been very easy. Yeah, no, I was faster with it by 4 seconds.
Oh my goodness. That's
So it
okay.
would have changed nothing if, different situation and everything, but it would have been same ranking, same everything else.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was looking up. Would you have moved up a spot? No.
No.
Absolutely no difference. So I guess that's nice. It's what I don't like about it is if someone from Ravensburger or World's organization watched this, which would be highly unlikely, but if they do, they're going to be patting themselves on the back going, you see, we picked the proper two puzzles to put together. That was the goal all along. It's like, that is not the case. Cameron is an anomaly.
So I after I finished the group thing and hung out with the Canadians for a while, but then I was walking through and I met up with Amelia, from the YouTube chat, and she asked, "Oh, how did that round go?" And I go, "Yeah, okay, but I picked the little son field," and she goes, "Oh, that's too bad. I guess you didn't qualify." And no, I qualified.
Yeah, 1 of 8.
So yeah, it wasn't a good pairing. I just chose atypically, let's say. Yeah.
But again, it doesn't really matter as long as you get through. You're not I know I wasn't trying to get one of the top 8 spots to get my own table. That was never going to happen with that round. But you just want to make it through. So then you make it through into the semifinals, and you have this one, which is I haven't done it yet, but I still think it's my favorite puzzle that was released at Worlds. It's exactly the type of style puzzle that I like. It's random, but not super. It's not this type of random. There's some sort of organization behind it, and it's fun as well. Yeah. How did you find it?
So I don't do well on busy puzzles yet. It's something I will work on for future. I think they go fine, but then you look at the time at the end and it's not as fast as I would like. So oh yeah, I have it here too. So yeah, it's it's busy. There's lots of things. Yeah. So when I first saw it, I was not super confident. But then you get into the spirit of everything. Everyone's trying to get it to the semifinals. Of course, you want to do fast. And so I think it actually did go very well. For this type of puzzle, it was by far the best time compared to what I thought it would be for any busy puzzle. It wasn't maybe super fast, but I think 55 minutes or something, which
Yeah.
for me, for a busy one, is really, that's unexpected. So I was very happy, even though I didn't get to go on.
Yeah. Yeah, you're under that's where we start to really see how fast you need to be at Worlds. Like under 55 for that type of puzzle, unreleased. No one's ever seen it before,
Mm.
and which is a shock that that wasn't leaked as well. But it's 55 minutes in other competitions would be amazing, and yeah, you don't move on through it. Like my time was 47, 48 in my round, and I didn't move on
Yeah, that's
to the finals. So it's the speed you need to go at. Like, what was the? I have it up here. What was the qualifying minimal time you had to have for this one? Top 60 move on. There it is. 47 minutes.
47.
So yeah, 47:21. So 8 minutes behind, which sounds okay. That's not that far, but it was like what 50 spots, but like it's
Yeah.
incredibly competitive at that point. And I think like with this was my first Worlds as well, and that was kind of a shock with
Mm.
okay, there's a huge jump between the qualifiers and the semifinals. So if I go to Worlds again, I kind of know what to expect now. Where all my practicing, I was so focused on qualifying and not as much on the semifinals. So like my goal time was always to be under 50. I want to get as many puzzles under 50 minutes as possible. First attempts, repeat attempts, whatever, under 50. That was the main goal. And that's exactly what I did when I got
Yeah.
to the semifinals. Unfortunately, it has to be under 47 minutes is what. So if that was the mindset I had for the 3 months of intense puzzling that I did beforehand, maybe I make it through. But again, I didn't focus enough on the semifinal round. It was on the qualifiers. So I kind of know what to expect. Were you you were in a chaos round this
Yeah.
qualifier, so it was the first time the lights on top of the dome kept changing throughout. So you had a little light show. You also were that was the same round where the drone flew into the jumbotron. Were you distracted by any of this? Oh no, the light show was the light show was drone and light show were the semifinals. Yeah.
Yeah. Because this was the last semi.
Last one of the evening. Yeah. Were you distracted by any of that stuff?
Uh, I was distracted, I think, by almost everything. And also this is a busy puzzle, so you have to almost be distracted to do the puzzle. I don't know.
Yeah.
I was also distracted. I mentioned this somewhere, I think, but my table was also on the very edge of the row for this round in particular. And the semifinals was already kind of stressful. And I don't know if you ever had a table position where you were the very last spot.
Yes, in my pairs qualifier.
In the Paris qualifier, yeah.
We were at
Yeah,
the very
people are-
back.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I was never on an edge. I was at the
No,
we were the last
okay.
row, but not
Yeah,
in.
no.
I was never an edge. No,
Never an edge.
I was at the very front, which wasn't ideal either for the teams qualifier.
Yeah.
Like table 3 or table 4, and that wasn't ideal. But no, I'm happy I didn't have an edge seat.
I knew that I wouldn't like it, but it was I much more didn't like it than I thought I wouldn't like it. The proximity is ridiculous, but I guess because the dome isn't that big and people were coming in, and so the barricade was just slept right at the end of the table, almost overlapping, the end of the table. Let's say the little barricade that separated. So everyone's also tired. So the people who are watching, actually not me, but my table mate, they were seated like right beside me. I could have put my hand on their drink would be about this far away, so
that would be very funny if you just grabbed their water and started drinking
yes.
it, like you're running a marathon.
I should have done that. Yeah. But it was very close. And so, that people will be watching you, but you could see them watching you the whole time because they're eye level, and they're right there.
Yeah.
And I still don't know if that was a benefit or a disadvantage because they were watching, I think I tried harder to not look like I was incompetent,
That
But
makes sense.
But you are also distracted. It's hard to say. I think I don't know. I think I did it as fast as I could, regardless of all the distractions. I think I just heard your chat with Danielle also, and she was super happy. Same puzzle, right?
Yeah.
And same thing. It was at least at this point in my puzzling journey, it's as fast as I could have done that. So I'm happy with the result no matter what.
Yeah, that's a good takeaway from it. It's a great accomplishment to get to the semifinals in general, and if you walk away with it thinking I did as good as I could do, then I don't know how you walk out of there anything but happy with it. So that's a huge accomplishment.
Yeah.
Pairs. Now this is where things take an interesting turn. You have a new partner for every single competition, it seems, and this is probably the best partner you've had. I would have to say, no offense to anyone else that you've been partnered with, but you end up paired up with Megan Sloka, the back-to-back Canadian champion. How?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good question. So
are you still asking yourself that?
Yeah, partly. I definitely did not have a team or pairs when I was at the Canadian Nationals. So I knew I was going to Worlds, but had neither of those two things. And I mentioned it, of course, to my teammates at the time. And Rebecca in particular is she's quite extroverted and social, so she knew lots of people. So somehow within an hour, she had found some candidates. I don't know how that worked, but it was also some candidates. But then, I was chatting to a few of them. But she also mentioned that I'd missed the fact that when Megan accepted her first place prize, you mentioned
that was a funny moment.
She's going to Worlds, but had no pair and no team. I had missed that, but Rebecca had heard it and reminded me. So it turns out that, for the team, it was Tamara and Shauna that already had two of them. For a team, we're looking for two more. So they were happy enough for me to join. And I'm sure they were very happy as well that Megan was happy to join as well. So that team formed quite straightforward, a bit randomly, but straightforward. I still didn't have a pair though. So we left it at that. I remember almost joking like, well, you guys are already a pair. Megan doesn't have a pair. We could be a pair, but knowing that would be idiotic because there's a lot of fast people out there. I should, find someone. We're happy, roughly similar level, maybe a bit higher or lower, but something like that. But nothing was decided. So we went back to our different our homes, and over the next few months, we talked a bit about with the team, just for names and T-shirts. We'll get to that in a second. But so we chatted a few times, but I still didn't have a pair exactly. But of course, I said, we could be a pair. And anyway, I think it was a month or 2 months before Worlds, it starts to get a little bit close. And at some point, I think I'm getting this correct. If you ever chat with Megan, she can correct me. But she was looking at the list of Canadians going to Worlds and pairs of the Canadians going to Worlds. And it really was essentially, I had no pair and she had no pair and everyone else had a pair. So, I mean, it already made sense because we're in a team, but I think fate or whatever also kind of planned it out, and that's how that happened.
It works out, but I feel like you're in the same situation as me. So I'm partnered with Tess McLaughlin, who is She won Western Regionals in Canada, finished 6th at Nationals, where statistically she's faster than me in pretty much every category. I've beaten her a couple times in some virtual competitions, but that's just if I have the right day at the right time, then that's everything has to come together perfectly for it. But she is overall a better and faster puzzler than me. So I feel like you're in the same situation where your partner is statistically faster than you. Was there additional pressure on you, I guess, to not let Megan down?
Of course. Because if there was anything going to happen poorly, it wouldn't be because of her.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I try not to think about it too much, but of course it was. You think because of that we would try to practice a lot or somehow make it better by finding what works best with the two of us in puzzling. But it never seemed to work out. So I was in Canada during the summer. I was visiting doing some science stuff, but also visiting my parents who live in Oakville. And I happened to also give a scientific visit at the University of Waterloo. So I was in Waterloo, which is where she's also around. It turned out the day I was in Waterloo, she was in Oakville. And when I went back to Oakville, she was in Waterloo. So that didn't work. So it would have been perfect, but it didn't happen. And then I quickly learned that it's very hard to find time to practice at an event. We had all these great ideas in mind, even with the huge gaps of many different qualifying rounds. We found enough time for like some team practice, which we can talk about next, but we just never could find time to practice as a pair. So, days are going by, and finally the next day is the pairs round, with the qualifying and the semis. And that morning was the first time that we could finally sit down and practice. So we did 2 puzzles, 2 landscapes, and then we went off to qualifiers. so the preparation was 0. Very happily, and I guess we'll talk about this more when we talk about how we did, but it was a super easy to puzzle with Megan. Like it was very strategy was very complementary. We of course communicated to some degree, but it was quite clear. During the practice, we came up with by 2 practices, you can kind of see what strategy might overall kind of work. And we found that during flipping, somewhere near 2/3 of the way, when most of the edges were already sorted out, Megan would start with the edges. I would finish the sort. And while she was doing the edges, would then make some projects that would follow both for her and me. And that worked out really, really well. Yeah. So
awesome. And you do really well. You finished 24th in the qualifying round, so easily through into the semifinals. I don't think it would be. You were definitely going to go through that. I don't think that was going to be too much of an issue. But were you surprised that you were finishing in 24th?
Yeah, 24 definitely, and also because so we were at the front. We were on table 11 for the pairs, just under the screen, I guess. It's when they actually had the air conditioner things, whatever they were. So there was one blowing, all the things we had. The box top kept, shaking. It was still nice to be cooler, but there was disadvantages as well. But our table mates were a pair from Switzerland, Annemie and Patrick, and they're both quite good puzzlers, and they also pair up sometimes. So we were just after them, and that was super surprising to me. I was very happy about that.
Yeah, who chose the puzzle?
I'd say more Megan. I was aiming for that one, but I think she was more conclusively. This is a good one, and we went with that.
Okay, because I believe you're in my round for this one as well. Yeah, so we're doing a lot of the same rounds with the lupins and the butterfly, and the butterfly was the red herring. Don't pick the butterfly.
Yeah, no,
it was, but you pick the lupins, you go through. which is great. In the semifinal, very similar finish. In fact, technically a better finish, even though you finish in 27th in the semifinals, because it's all the fast people now. 27th is still, because you would have been at what, table 48-ish around, give or take, with that finish. So you beat the table number, which is the priority. You're also the top Canadian pair in that round. Again, easily qualifying through to the finals. Were you surprised you're going to the finals? Or at this point, you're like,
also very happy.
Now it's Megan.
Well, so when we first met up in Spain, Megan shared her goals for the Worlds, and it was just to qualify for all 3 finals. That was her goals going into Worlds. So there was a bit of pressure because I would be responsible for at least one of those, working or not. But what was also interesting is just like, well, I think every puzzler going into each round, when we were chatting beforehand, she was not convinced that it would either work or not, for herself as well. Like solos, each one was different. It wasn't a given. So yeah, we were pleasantly surprised, but I'm glad it did work out. But it definitely wasn't. We weren't assuming we would go through the finals. Yeah.
But you do easily.
Yep.
And I'm just wary of the time that we have here. But you make it in the finals. We know the puzzle is the speed puzzling 1,000-piece puzzle. The image was leaked beforehand. Did the 2 of you talk about the image before the round started?
Super briefly. When I hadn't mentioned this yet, but the way so Megan likes to see the puzzle right side up, and I really don't care if it's upside down. So we already knew individually we could look at those parts of the puzzle just to get some indication. Not much, because I knew that I'd be sorting projects for Megan, but until I knew exactly what shade those blues were, I didn't really know for sure what would be sortable and not. So I did look, but I couldn't do much with it, I'd have to say. Yeah.
Had you personally, because you didn't get to the pairs final in the Canadian Nationals, which has a 1,000-piece puzzle. Had you done a pairs 1,000-piece in a competition before, or any pairs 1,000-piece?
Nope. I've done very rarely pairs at all, and definitely never 1,000 before. I have done, I think, 2 or 3 online solo 1,000 pieces, which helps a little bit to get a feeling for how much time it will take, but no, pairs never. Yeah.
So the 2 of you finish in 52nd place, which is the 3rd best Canadian team. You're only behind 2 pairings of Devin and Katie and Danielle and Allison, 2 pairings who practice together a lot, and have a lot of competition experience too. So that must feel pretty good to be the 3rd best Canadian team, 52nd best pair in the world. How close was that to your expectations going into this?
Oh, my expectations?
Yes, that was your expectations.
That was because I could, you could say top 60, and that sounds really nice for the overall. And then, top 3 I wouldn't even have thought about, like the Canadian one. That was much higher than I would have thought. We mentioned something earlier about friendly competition and rivalry. I don't know if this is the best place to say this, but I think you and Tess were unofficial rivals.
And that was definitely the case. We came out on the lower end all 3 times, but not by much. But we were essentially in a very similar position as the 2 of you. We weren't able to. We did a little bit of practice in Spain. We did a couple 500-piece puzzles, but it was and that first round with the Lupins, I had definitely done the butterfly.
Mm.
I don't know if Tess had, but we knew butterfly was not the option, so we went with lupins, which was not a better option. It was just the other option that was less awful, and that is the worst puzzle I could have gotten. It's flowers. I know yours with your because we talked about it. Your in Spain we talked about it. You did the sky when it came to the lupins, and Megan started at the with the bottom
Yep.
with the flowers. That's what Tess and I should have done. Um, because flowers are I can't. It's just that lupins are the worst for me, and that definitely slowed us down in that first puzzle. I think we did really well in the semifinal round with the Frida puzzle, but again, more flowers,
Mm.
which I I did some of them, but I think there's the white flowers. I just said no, Tess, you have to do those ones. But yeah, we were a few spots behind you in that, and then again, just a few spots behind you when it came to the thousand piece. The thousand piece was I definitely did not do enough thousand piece practice beforehand. Again, something else I've learned from Canadian nationals and from Worlds is I need to be doing more thousand piece puzzles, and that's I am in the process of getting back into them. But it's yeah, if if there's a round two, we'll see how that goes next time. But I do want to move on. We don't have tons of.
Yeah.
I don't want to use up all your time today. It is later in France than it is here. Your team, because I just think it's fun to talk about. There's a few fun aspects with it. Your team. I'm gonna go on a limb here and say Megan did not pick the team name for it.
You are
Uh,
wrong.
really?
Yes.
Wow. I'm just looking at the age brackets of the people on the
Yes.
team and the name of the team, and I was like, no way is that band being picked by the. I think it was the young. She was the youngest Canadian there for all the Canadians. I think she was first or second youngest at World. So okay, how did the name come together? What is the name, and how did it
Um,
come together?
it's one of these early, early chats you have where you're just texting everyone, oh, we need a name. And I think there were two previous ones. I can't remember what they were anymore. And Megan suggested Our Lady Peace. And then we all immediately liked and thumbed, whatever. We said it was great. And we stuck with that because it's Canadian, it's kind of like an inside thing if you know, but otherwise it's still funny because it it's still a phrase that people would kind of get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
I'm
shocked
shocked
because
because
I
I
know
know
there
there
was
was
other
other
people in at least in their 20s at Worlds, and they were like, "That's a I think it's a band. Never really heard of." And it's like, oh no, that's why I had never. Well, good on Megan. That's so
Yeah.
she knows her Canadian music. Who designed the logo?
Um, Mostly Nat, Megan's partner. We tried it. I think we even tried a variety of sources. It wasn't bad. Um, but Nat did a better job. So we took
Because
that. Yeah.
you have the T-shirt there, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
We tried different strategies. We wanted to maybe take some aspects from the album, kind of, and in a way, it's the same font style for one of the albums,
Yeah. Love it.
with Canadian
It's
stuff added, and
Yeah, love it. It's
yeah.
it's it's great, and having the little maple leaf on there with the puzzle piece as well, excellent. So yeah, I remember seeing the four of you practicing outside as well before your round started. Do you think it was helpful?
I don't know which one you saw. We did two practices. The first one as a team, we did 500 piece puzzle. I think I have a bad history of doing small piece counts.
No,
Is
I
that
saw the
correct?
thousand piece. I saw the thousand piece
Okay, okay.
practice.
So
Yeah.
the small one was really late in the day. So after the 500, we tried to do, the Karen puzzles where the pieces are separate from the overall
Yes.
puzzle.
Yeah. That
So
meta puzzle. Yeah.
yeah, so the light was disappearing. This has more edges then you know what to do with. And we had no image. So that was a disaster, let's say, as a practice. It was still fun. We had fun, but it was useless as a practice. So we only did the one that you would have seen. And it was useful because we really didn't know too much about the other people. And it also shows that two was not enough, because after we did our qualifying round, which I guess we might talk about, but we knew we had to make a few changes. So the practice wasn't enough to find the weak point, let's say. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's because I remember commenting when you were doing a 1,000-piece puzzle, and then I think we left and we came back and you were still doing a puzzle, and you were standing essentially the entire time, and over top of the table. I was like, how. My back would have been like, you're not moving for the next week, like that.
Yeah.
I would have been out just because of that. So that didn't have any impact, I'm hoping.
No, happily, well, for the event, no, but for that puzzle, absolutely yes. I think most of us don't puzzle standing up anyway.
Not for that. Not for that long.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
So yes, you are in the qualifying round. We all thought your semifinal round for individual was chaotic with the drone and the light show and everything else that was going on. Doesn't even come close to the chaos of this round. So you're the first person I'm talking to that was in the Thunderdome qualifying round, where pretty much everything that could go wrong went wrong around you. So this is, if people haven't already heard the stories from Worlds or seen my recaps, watch the recaps. There was a storm outside, which started as rain, and then it started a little bit, then it left, and it came back, then it left, and then the sky just opened up, and it was heavy rain, a lot of wind. It took down the Jumbotron outside of the dome. Did you hear the crash inside?
Amongst all the other sounds, not particularly, no. It was loud in there. You may have.
It was, yes. It was very loud, because then, because I was outside with the rest of the Canadians just sitting in the rain, because it's just water. It's fine. But once the hail started, it was probably the first sign of the apocalypse. So we decided to come in. We came inside, and the sound of the dome being hit by the hail. And I've spoken to some other people separately who were puzzling during that, or were in the dome during it, that weren't outside, didn't realize it was hail. They only thought it was just heavy rain. Did you know that it was hail? And it wasn't small hail either. Like, it was like the size of like a thumb. It was It was big hail. Did you know?
No, it made sense as soon as someone had said that. It made perfect sense, but it could easily have also been just like an intense rainstorm. It was maybe hard to judge. It was loud, though. You're incredibly correct. Even communicating at the same table was not super easy. Yeah.
I was with people at the back of the dome, and just even talking to each other there, like, it was like you had to speak very loudly. And then within the circle, or the puzzling area for the competitors, leaks were coming from the ceiling and hitting some tables. So people were moving tables to avoid the water. Some people were just picking up their entire boards and going to empty tables. One of the main announcer guys, Charlie, he was standing above a table, holding a chair, protecting that table, and it was just so much is going on.
Yeah.
How is this? Was your table impacted by any of the water? Let's just start with there.
The closest it came was just beside the table. Like, had we reached out with our arm, probably we would have felt some, but
it's close.
Yeah, it was close, but no.
Were you then in? Go ahead.
But you can tell
impacted by. Sorry. Go ahead.
You could tell that there was some issue going on because even amongst our trying to communicate, a few times it came up. I distinctly remember that should we leave? Is there evacuation or something? Because it just sounded so apocalyptic. Like it just should we just be puzzling and ignoring what's going on around us? Because this is intense. There's no way this is normal. And you could without seeing it directly. So I didn't know so many tables were affected, but you could sense the movement. Like you can sense when people are doing
Yeah.
chaotic things around you, and you're trying to focus and seriously. So we're trying to do a good job, but part of your brain's either laughing or screaming because you're seeing ridiculous things in your side vision and not knowing how to process that or yeah.
It was quite the round. I would say. Did all of the chaos start while you were in your first puzzle or your second puzzle?
Uh, it started not long after starting the first puzzle, and we chose because this was a qualifier. You chose the puzzles, so
Yeah.
we chose to start with the Christmas puzzle. And I just remember, I think that's when all of us started to lose it a bit mentally because we were in the apocalypse. It was as hot as you could ever imagine, and we're doing a Christmas puzzle. I don't know. Uh, Yeah, we were just holding on to our sanity by a really small thread.
Yeah, that was. I felt so bad for the people that chose the abandoned puzzle in that
Oh yeah,
qualifier because it was a dark. I have that puzzle as well. I haven't done it that, but it's a dark puzzle already. And then once that storm hit and everything else, the whole dome started turning dark.
yeah.
I think only like two or three teams that chose the abandoned puzzle made it through to the final because I don't know how you see anything with it. But your team, top 20, moved on. Your team
Yeah.
in 12th place moves on to the final. Um, Great, not unexpected at all. And then just quickly, you go into the final. How did you feel about the final puzzles? The Aurora
Um,
and the Ladybug Lane?
I guess they were somewhat expected. I don't know. Maybe the landscape one was well, it was kind of dark.
Yeah.
But, you'd imagine it would be a little bit difficult, and it was. And the other one was quite busy, so hard to sort and
Yeah.
strategize. But I guess they went smoothly enough. I mean, of course, you wish certain things were faster, but I don't think it was too bad. Yeah,
Yeah, you finish in 56 overall, so
yeah,
another top 60 finish. You are
yeah.
again, you're the third best Canadian team. Um, the other one, at least one of the other ones, I know they had practiced. They had a whole weekend retreat to practice, so not unexpected. I don't know what the second team, if they practiced or not, but yeah, still a great result overall, considering none of you live really super close to each other to be able to practice as a team. Um, if you return to Worlds again, I know a lot of stuff is up in the air on what's going to happen and everything else. Would you still be looking at like a Canadian team again, or would you potentially be looking for like three people from France that you might be able to practice with more, but you'd have to compete under the French flag?
Well, ideally, I would go. I would happily be with the same team. I'm not sure if Tamara and Shauna would be going back. Uh, But that maybe shows you already that, yeah, no, a Canadian team. I know we wouldn't be able to practice, but we'd be able to talk at the nationals coming up. And maybe with some advanced planning, you can fit some things in. We did all this, as I said, I didn't find a team or pairs until last minute anyway. I
Yeah.
think with some planning, it can work out better. So
Yeah.
Canadian, yeah, yeah.
Okay. Which which brings up we're pretty much at the end here now, but I mentioned before we all got the email, or a bunch of us got the email today that's hinting at what was it called? The World Series, I think is what they call
Yes,
it.
that was the word. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so the World Series for puzzling from speedpuzzling.com, which I don't know who it's associated
Speedpuzzle.com.
with. Speedpuzzle.com, yes. I'm guessing it's part of the speedpuzzle.eu group as well, or it might be. We don't really know anything. It's just the website has nothing except a countdown on it as the time of this recording. But
Yeah.
because we signed up early, we got the advanced thing. So this is as fresh in our minds as it could possibly be because it literally was emailed to us a couple hours ago. It's going to be in Germany. We know that.
Yes.
So are you? We know it's 6 events, individuals only. We don't know what the 6 events are. We'll probably find that out tomorrow when it's released to everybody. But you compete in all 6 rounds. There's no elimination, and it kind of adds your totals as you work your way through. Is kind of what the email said, like a decathlon type of thing, but only 6.
That's the impression
6
I had
rounds.
too in my head. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm assuming there's going to be different styles of puzzles. I'm curious as to what you think, because it's so fresh. What do you think they might include in these 6 events?
Yeah. Because I was thinking about it. I hope you got further than I did. Because I can definitely see, different image styles completely. Like you have landscape and then something busy and graphic, but that's 2, and it's 2 that are very close together. I would imagine that they are more different than that.
I would think so. Do you think it? So there's going to be different brands. We know that there'll be different brands. That's
True.
that's
Yeah.
going to be a given. But do you think they go so far as to a wooden puzzle round or a small 3D puzzle round?
Well, now that you're saying that, it does remind me. Did you see Donna Louise? She went to the Chinese
No, I didn't
national.
see that. I didn't see her recap with it. No.
Okay, because that one, it was a single event, so it wasn't like 6 separate events, but you were presented with, I think, whatever, 5 to 10 different puzzles of 3D, 2D, whatever, and each of them were different points. So how many you finished, that was how many points you
Okay.
got for the ones you. So now that you say that, then maybe not like set up like that, but you're right. Something completely different would be would be interesting, and I think we wouldn't necessarily have the same people being good at them that are good at the other ones. It's possible.
Yeah, and it's because it's in Germany. So first of all, is it something that you think you might attend? Because you're the traveler, so where might you? Is this another one
Yeah,
that you might try to get tickets to?
I would probably go. I have been to Munich a few times in the past. I would go, even just to see it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious at how many spots there are going to be, and I think it's going to go instantly. It's going to
Exactly.
sell out because of the concerns and stuff that happened at Worlds this year, and people, some big names, kind of indicating that they're not going to return again next year for it, and this coming up now. I wonder if
Hmm.
I want it's there's a lot of questions that are going to be coming up now over the next few months, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm curious to see how what those events are going to be, and because you can only train for so many things.
Yeah.
Um, Worlds, the big advantage for Worlds is I'm just going to do as many Ravensburger puzzles as humanly possible. Like that's it, because you know exactly what types of puzzles are going to show up, different
Yeah.
styles or images. But if you go into something going, it can be any brand, any style. Like they could give a puzzle where there's no edges. Um, I that was one of my favorite puzzles growing up. I think it was a 750 piece puzzle of um, cars on a pool table, and the cars had like the numbers on them, and then pool cues, but there's no border for it.
Okay.
So you, um, so the first time you do it, it's quite tricky because you don't know where it starts and ends. Um, there's another puzzle brand. I don't know what it is, but they make impossible puzzles or infinity puzzles. So
Hmm.
neither side has a edge on it, but like the one edge always attaches to the other edge, so you can start at any point the image, and it can still do it. So it's
Yeah.
so it'd be interesting if they throw in some of those types of puzzles as well, where it's how do you practice for a puzzle with no edge pieces? Like it's, but yeah, we don't know. We'll find out what that
No,
is.
but that sounds very fair in a way because yeah, if because the one you just brought up one point that I didn't want to forget to say, but after going to the Worlds, for example, you come out saying, "Oh, okay, I'll definitely practice a bit. I know how I'm going." Well, you'll spend this next year practicing. But I was talking with Stein from Belgium at the European Championship, and he mentioned, which is very true, that yes, you'll be practicing, but so will everyone else. So it's everyone's moving at the same rate in a way. So you have to improve on your improving versus other people, which is, I don't know.
Yep. And the faster you get, I forget who I was talking. Oh, I know who I was talking to about it, but it's the faster you are, the less room for improvement you have. So if you're already doing 500-piece puzzles at, let's say your average is 40 minutes, there's a ceiling you're going to get to pretty quickly after that, whether it's 38, 37, whatever. Some exceptional people, yes, will be in the sub 30s constantly, so we know who they are. But if you're just starting out, so you're only a year and a half into this, your jump in times is huge right now. You start at 2 hours, and now you're down. You just did 55 minutes on a first attempt at the world semifinals. It's a huge jump in progress. So we don't know who else at Worlds this year. Could have been this was their first competition, and yeah, maybe they finished in 90 minutes, but over the next year, they might be knocking 40 to 50 minutes off their average time if they're practicing a lot. So even these people that you think you are, I'm miles ahead of them. Yeah, but are you? Because those jumps can happen. There's so much room for improvement for the people that are at the slower times who have that natural ability. They just haven't utilized it yet. So it's never going to get easier. There's no... That's not going to happen. It just gets harder and harder every single year. But yeah, this has been very fun to talk about all your traveling journeys and everything else that goes along with it. Again, I only had 4 pages of notes and we're at over 2.5 hours. So I'm just going to do the wrap up stuff now, unless there's anything else that you wanted to bring up or mention.
No, oh no, just one last one.
Perfect.
The most recent EJJ for me was, I think, number 97. They talked about your videos a bit, which is nice. But Alejandro also mentioned one interesting thing that I just wanted to bring up. They said it would be interesting and maybe even more fair if every final had 2 puzzles they had to do. So not choice, but 2 puzzles that would be different styles. To even out if someone's better at this style, and that happened to be the final puzzle. So have 2 very different styles, and maybe a landscape and some graphic thing. You have to do both. So it's longer. You have to do both 2 styles, so multiple styles. Anyway, I'd never thought about it before. He mentioned this was his. They asked a few people what one thing would they change, and that was his one thing. And I never would have thought of that, but it's interesting. I don't know what you would think of that, but.
I do like that idea because I tuned into the EJJ one after finding out they mentioned me, which was nice, and then they mentioned me a few more times. So thank you to the individuals on there. And it was just at the end of Alejandro's session on there because I think he won the EJJ that time. So they had him on and the puzzle, by the way, for that EJJ, loved it. Loved it. And the fact it was designed by the daughter of one of the organizers. Love everything about it. No notes. And
fully agree. Yeah.
But I watched, I think Kati came up next, did her interview, and she referenced that she agreed with Alejandro's suggestion. I just never went back to listen to it. But now that I know what it is, love it. Again, 2 500-piece puzzles, perfect. Because you could have something like you had in your semifinal round, the random thing like that, and then a landscape or something that could, like, two completely different approaches, because yeah, I think that evens the playing field a little bit more, and you find out who your true fastest puzzler is, and it brings the stamina factor into it as well, which is something to consider, because we see that with
And
1,000-piece
it extends
puzzles.
the length a bit for the really fast ones, because now we're getting, we're getting to sometimes, just around 30 minutes. This is two
Yeah.
puzzles, so at least maybe bring back a bit of time. As
Yeah,
well.
and it'd be fun to watch like someone like dominate the first puzzle that they do,
Yeah.
and then they see the next one, and it's, I like the idea of what you said they did uh, at
Oh,
the
for the
cup
team one
where
at the European, yeah.
yeah, where you couldn't see that second puzzle. I think that would be great as well. So it's just the whole time you're doing that first one, you just be thinking in your head, what's coming up? Like, what could possibly be next? But it would just be fun to see someone who just dominates the first puzzle, opens the next one, and be like, oh no, and just falls down those. Like, I feel bad for the person, but it would be make
Yeah.
for great, like a great sporting event where it's someone who is 10th or 15th or 20th. That's their perfect puzzle, and they just soar right to the start, make that huge comeback. Oh, that would be yeah. If someone's from rules again, if you're watching, listen to the puzzlers. We're like the ideas that are coming from this. Alejandro's idea, love it. Everyone that suggested things, love it. It's yes. And I do have a video coming out probably before this is done, where I've spoken with somebody, and we came up with kind of what our ideal worlds would kind of look like, and we didn't mention that, but it's a good one. But yeah. So yeah, just to close it out, we have on my channel, as you may or may not know, I also do Speed Puzzling 101, little quick lessons and stuff that I post for people, and I base them on suggestions that people may have, but I also ask everyone that's come on, all my guests here, if you have a suggestion that I could incorporate into one of those lessons, or a challenge that I could undergo as well, and see, up to you. Any suggestions?
Yeah, from being pairs, I would have said do like an incredible first solve full sort, because I've never done one, and I think that's something that's very useful. But I changed my mind after we chatted today, and I'd say, yeah, go to those higher piece counts for both to get used to them, and if someone's new, like stamina and strategy. But yeah, do more solo large piece counts. That's your thing.
Awesome. Yeah, I will definitely bring that one. That will definitely be incorporated in the future. Yeah, before we go into the final quick fire questions, do you have any, if people want to contact you as you become more social in the puzzling world, clearly as you travel everywhere, do you want to mention any social media platforms or websites or anything?
Yeah, so for puzzling, I usually just use Instagram. So it's macbordeaux. So Mac, beginning of my last name, and Bordeaux because I live here. That's it.
Awesome. And then, yeah, so that will be included. Well, that will be on the screen the whole time during this video anyways, but it's also in the description below, as well as your MySpeed. I'm going to put your MySpeed puzzling in there too, so you can see how you match up with one of the top 50 persons in the world, and one of the top 50 teams people in the world. So yeah. All right. So yeah, just to finish this off with some quick fire questions that I've already sent to you. So we're going to go through these as quickly as possible. Well, we'll see. Here we go. Your favorite brand of puzzle?
Villager, both for their images and their philosophy. I really like.
I really like Villager puzzles. Your favorite piece count?
It's been 500 lately, just because we've been doing it so often. I would like to go back to 1,000. I do prefer those.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think 1,000 is where my heart will always be, because that's what you grow up with and everything else. But yeah, it's my favorite piece count overall. Not for speed puzzling, but yeah. Your favorite cut style?
Ribbon.
Your favorite speed puzzle event?
So for speed puzzle, I would say pairs, not just because of that I've had social ones and really good speedy ones. But I think it's a good compromise that you're not by yourself, but it's also not the full team. Like you're doing it together. So I'd say that. And it's not for speed, but I would put puzzle marathons. We didn't talk about that today, but I've only done a few and they've been amazing.
Yeah, we didn't talk about that. It was on my list of things. Are you doing the one in France?
Yes. Yes.
Awesome. Great. Well, I'm sure I'll follow up with people that participate, and I won't be, just I can't keep traveling. But I know there's definitely a few Canadians signing up for that, or going to attempt to. No, it's already done. Sign-up's done.
Sign-up's
Yeah.
done.
Yeah, sign-up's done. Your favorite puzzler?
I'll say Victor. He's very present, super friendly, and he offers so much advice when you go to these events that he's at. Yes.
Yeah, I've only heard positive things about Victor. Your favorite puzzle ever?
Favorite puzzle, what? Sorry?
Your favorite puzzle ever? Your
Oh,
favorite
favorite puzzle ever.
done.
Yeah. When I was really young, more or less only had one puzzle, and it was an old Springbok King Tut, because he was popular at the time, with a black background. It sounds like horribly hard, but it's the only one I had, so I must have done it many, many, many times.
The hardest puzzle that you've ever done?
So it's a brand called Calypto, and the image, it was 1,000 piece, and it's a painting, already horrible, and the painting style is a pointillism, where they just use single dots of any color to make any other color. It was horrific, and I got rid of it immediately. It's a beautiful, beautiful picture, but a horrible, horrible puzzle.
Not ideal. Your least favorite design to see on a puzzle?
At the moment, I'd say, busy. It's
Busy.
It's not my thing. Yeah.
Your favorite puzzle moment that you've had?
I guess going to the European one, finishing just a few seconds from the end. You've already mentioned it's a very exhilarating feeling to just fit in completion of a puzzle before the time goes out. So I think that's mine.
It's a great moment. Your favorite way to get new puzzles?
I really like doing virtual competitions because it introduces me to brands that I would never buy, and images that if I saw it, would never get, because it's not maybe my style, but it can be fun to do. So I would say, virtual competitions.
You're the first person to say to get new puzzles through competitions, and I'm surprised it took this many people to say that. And I'm guessing all those puzzles behind you, all those wrapped things behind you, are virtual competitions coming up?
Yeah, mostly EJJ, but there's one French one and at least two, and there's another stock over there, Canadian ones too. Yeah.
The white ones I can tell the white ones are the Canadian ones. Yeah. And the last question, a dream puzzle that you've not done, but you wish you could, or you want to?
Yeah, I don't have a specific one in mind, but if you remember when I talked about doing puzzles as a young teenager, I would love to once again get a big world puzzle and slowly work my way through it.
Yeah, there is one specific massive world one that's been going around lately, and it's huge. There's a lot with it. That's everything. Again, these always go much longer than I planned for them to, but there's so much to talk about, and you've had so many interesting experiences. I'm so happy that you agreed to sit and chat with me and talk about them. And now I want to go to more national competitions and just kind of travel around Europe and puzzle. That seems, why not? But yeah, thank you so much for joining me, and it's been super fun.
Great, it's been great. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Awesome, and have a great rest of the day. Thank you so much. I'll talk to you later.